Welcome to Church Jams Now, the podcast where three former youth group kids and current music nerds deep dive into Christian music from the 90s and 2000s. Guys, this is it.
We made it.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Oh,
this is it.
That's good.
This is the end, part 5 of
You know
our... What?
I'm so excited about this series that I could scream through the walls.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That is, of course, Mr. TJ Smith.
Ah!
And he's screaming.
He's
Sorry,
screaming.
maybe it's more like this. Oh.
Yeah, it's muffled by the walls.
Yeah.
And I am Kylan Savage.
Hey.
Hey. And lastly, we have our beautiful producer, Josh Olson.
Hey, everybody. Hey, guys.
Hey, how do we feel, y'all? This is like, this is the end of our little mini series, our little experiment.
Honestly, it happened so fast.
I know. And we never came up with a clever name for it.
I think TJ did.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
think he
but
did.
good luck
I
having him
forgot it.
remember it. Good luck any of us remembering
It's
it.
recorded
Might as well have
somewhere.
not have.
It's recorded somewhere, so...
Okay.
I had that
Wasn't
thought
back and
today.
find it.
I was like, what did I come up with? Because I can't remember it now.
I think it was in the Hawk Boy episode or something like that. I can't remember. But I think TJ did come up with something usable.
Well, we'll see.
We'll find
So
out.
see that
the-
episode.
They've already started coming out, and we haven't called it anything. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Our very unofficial name that
Yep.
only shows up in one episode.
In true CJN fashion.
Yeah,
yes.
classic. Classic.
So
class.
we're doing something a little different today for the last episode, because normally we record part A and part B. There's a difference in time, and I'm also joined by Miss Willa June, harkening back to our at volume 2, our Amy Grant Christmas episode.
It's the special return of our favorite guest.
Willa June Savage. So if you hear a little bit of cooing
She's an
hanging
avid
out,
ACB fan, so we couldn't
She really
keep her
is.
off the mic,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, we needed her
she's
hot
been
take on
clamoring to get on.
I tried.
Talk
Willa, what
about
do you
it.
think of As Cities Burn? Good. Cool.
Good.
Me too. Yeah, so we're doing all of this in one go. We're going to do our part A right into our part B. I don't know if people need to know that or care about that, but it's going to be interesting.
It'll be a little different. This is the first time we won't have a break in between, so that'll be kind
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about, there's no flop or bop, so there's no real reason to break it up.
Exactly.
Might as well just roll on through.
Yeah. So, of course, we are talking about the very newest As Cities Burn record, 2019's Scream Through the Wall. It is 2019, right?
It is, yes.
Okay.
June.
Cool. Yeah. So to get us started, Josh, do you have any facts or stats, things you want to tell us about this record before we
I've got some
kinda dive in?
stats, but I also want to let's have a story time before we get to them, if you
All right.
will.
Love it.
So
Ooh.
when we last left off in 2015 with As Cities Burn's 2 new singles, they were a band again. They had 2 new songs. They went on a headlining tour with Emery that I saw in 2015. And then so they're going and going. And then in 2016, they get they're going to open up for acceptance on a couple dates, and they're kind of get the balls rolling. And then all of a sudden, in August of 2016, we just get some tweets or some information that they're like, I think it's Aaron Lunsford that's like, well, As Cities Burn is done. We're done for. And it was like, if I remember correctly, it was pretty much like, we're not getting better. Like, we tried it. It's not working. Like, ACB is done. And it's like, you guys just got started again. And it was this whole new thing. And then my wife, who's a big ACB fan, she'd never seen them at that point. So she was like real excited because acceptance was coming to Austin, and she was thinking about going just to see ACB. And then they're like, nope, we're done. We're quitting. We're done. So then she's like, I'm never going to see ACB again. So it was this big hurrah, big to-do thing. And then in 2017, I remember they were on the Labeled podcast. Matt Carter got, I think, Lunsford on, and then he got Cody on, but at different times, and like used it as like a bridge to kind of be like, hey, what if ACB kind of got back together? Is there new stuff y'all would want to do? And then I think later in that year, they reunite again in December of 2017. And then they go on tour in 2018. And then later that year, they have a new song out. And then we finally have a new record out in June of 2019, June 7th of 2019. And we have the glorious return of TJ Bonnet, who he was on the last 2 songs, but this is his first record with the band since 2005. And then Cody, of course, his guitar and vocals. We have the addition of Hunter Walls on guitar, who he's played in a couple bands like Better Off and My Children, My Bride. And then a new addition for this, we have Stephen Keach playing bass. Yeah, who was the vocalist of Haste the Day for a long time. And he does a lot of cool like studio cinematic stuff in Nashville these days. And of course, we got trusty Aaron Lunsford on drums.
Yeah.
Yep. What's different about this record is they signed to Equal Vision for this record.
I wanted to talk about
Tooth and
that.
Nail. Yeah.
Because, I mean, we talked about it on the Silverline episode, but, you know, if analytics are to be believed, all 3 people that listen to that are the only people that...
No one heard it to hear us talk about it.
That I have this, like, soft spot for Equal Vision these days because they're almost like a kind of, like, revival house for these, like, mid-2000s emo and post-hardcore bands that I loved.
They found a niche and they were like, let's create a renaissance.
Yeah.
And people are here for it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like what they're doing these days. And we talked about kind of how, you know, I'm not sure how they signed all these bands, but they must have something good going on there, that all these bands that a lot of them were on major labels at a certain point or had broken up or whatever, but have done their sort of comeback EPs or albums with Equal Vision. So there's got to be something rad going on there behind the scenes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a lot of passion, you know, like a lot of true love for like the specific bands that they're signing and trying to prop up. It's really exciting.
You'll have to see it.
You'll love to see it.
You do love to see it. All right, Josh, what else we got?
Okay, so they signed to Equal Vision, and they are back with Matt Goldman at the producer's helm.
Woo!
They recorded with him. There is another producer credit for Blind Spots, which was done by, it's credited as Saint Pressure, but his name is Cole Johnson.
Okay.
So whoever, that's his like producing moniker, who knows? But yeah, so Matt Goldman did this whole record except for that one song, and they're back with him. I do want to talk about that. I got to see ACB on their 2018 tour, where they were headlining with My Epic and Tiger Wine, and Matt Goldman was doing sound for them.
Nice.
So like we were just there we were there at the door. This was like right after the door wasn't the door anymore, before it got torn down, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
So we're there, and then like I see this guy like walking by, and I'm like, I'm with my wife, and I'm like, I think that's Matt Goldman.
You're probably the only person that would recognize Matt Goldman in the wild.
She's like, who? So I like Google him and like show her a picture, like that guy, like this guy, the guy who did like Under Oath and ACB and all the Chariot records. Like that's Matt Goldman, I think. And she's like, oh, okay. So after the show was done, I like went up to him and like, hey, are you Matt Goldman? He's like, yeah. And so Allie was like, you're probably the only person on this whole tour to like recognize him and then go talk to him. But it was awesome. I got to talk to him for like 10 minutes, and he was like the coolest dude.
That's the
we
best.
talked about the war on drugs, his studio, because he wasn't at Glow in the Dark anymore. I think he is now again, but he was like at another studio. I think Gem City Studios is where he was at the time. So we talked about that. But yeah, it was super cool. So hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Matt Goldman again on the podcast and get into some more depth or whatever. But yeah, I got to meet him on that tour, and it was super cool.
That's pretty rad.
Highlight. I always have this thing of like, I've always wanted to be at shows, because every time like I'll hear artists be like, oh yeah, I was at this show, and then I just saw like this other artist happened to be there, and so I'm like, I want that to happen where I'm at a show for a band, and then I see like someone else there, like, and I think that was the first time. Maybe it wasn't, because I don't know if we could go on a tangent of this, but I'm curious if y'all ever had that. I went to a Jimmy World show and saw Parker Case from Say Anything there, and got to talk to him a little bit. But yeah, Matt Goldman and him are the only two that I've been to shows and recognize someone who like wasn't in like another band or something like that.
You mean Parker Case from the emo duo Jameson Parker?
Oh,
that's
is he in that one too?
That's a really deep cut.
That's a
yeah,
deep
he's one
cut.
half of it.
Oh,
they came out
there
with
you
one
go.
album, and it was
Is it
one of my
great?
favorites. It's so emo, dude. It's like so like 2004 MySpace emo, and
No one knows.
freaking
Nice.
love it.
emo deep cuts like Kylan does.
You're the guy.
It's
You are
like
the guy.
one of my favorite emo records.
Nice. That's great. Well, I had the privilege of like going to Cornerstone multiple times. So it was like a who's who reunion. Like it was a hub. So you could see anybody watching another band
at any time.
And, yeah. So I think I got kind of ruined to that because it became less special when it's like, oh, the Showbread guys are here watching As Cities Burn. Like
you're like,
right.
oh, literally Brandon Ebel is on side stage right now. Like,
yeah, probably.
I don't have any cool stories like that.
So you win, Josh. You have the.
Although to be fair, I might
penultimate.
have cool stories like that. I just don't remember.
you just don't remember them. Yeah. You have the story of whenever we were trying to get in to go see Motion City and Say Anything, and we somehow snuck into
a Bo Burnham
Bo
show.
Burnham set. Yeah. And like we weren't even
What?
trying to sneak in. We were just trying to
Right.
find our way to the venue, and we just happened to wind up in the Palladium, and Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
was
So
performing.
TJ, remember the Palladium had like the Palladium was like the big area,
Right.
And then they had the loft upstairs, and they had
Yep.
Gillies were
Yep.
all attached. And we were going to see Motion City at Gillies, and I think Josh and I had never been,
We'd never been. Yeah, we'd
And
only
so
been to
we're-
the Palladium.
and we could not find the entrance like anywhere. So we started just like wandering around, and we go back behind the Palladium, and we found a door that was open. And we go through the door, and it's just like into the Palladium where Bo Burnham was performing
Doing
back
his set.
before. I mean, he was like, this was back.
This
when he
is
was
like
just
2010 or 2011.
yeah, he was just like a snotty YouTube kid. So
Yeah. He hadn't even been on Parks and Rec at that point, probably.
right,
I had no idea who he was.
and I thought that
so
was so
funny.
And
Yeah.
then we're like, oh, wrong show, and we just left.
Yeah, and no desire to see Bo Burnham at that time.
But we stumbled onto him there.
That is really.
I couldn't remember if it was like through a back door, or if we just walked in and no one like asked for our tickets.
No, we
or
just
anything
walked
like
in
that.
through like a back door. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
just like a door that was like in the Palladium.
That's funny.
It was just like, oh man, I wish I had known this for a myriad of other shows.
I know, it would have been so nice. I
Security
thought
at
about
the
that as like,
Palladium was that
I
lax.
wonder if I could just like show up at this show,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not buy tickets,
hold
kind
on.
of thing.
It's like the double feature effect in a theater when you can just like go from one theater to another.
Exactly.
One room.
Exactly.
Motion City, Bo Burnham, little double feature action.
Yeah, it's connected to like a May show. So whenever we talk about like our first May record, I'll talk more about that story because we opened for May and then left, and we didn't even see May perform because we wanted to go see Say
Oh my
Anything
god,
in Motion City.
I know.
What?
Yeah, we didn't
Oh
see me,
my
and it was
God.
like
Y'all
the
buried
May,
the lead.
like farewell tour.
I think it was their farewell tour.
It was their
and we
farewell tour.
ditched. We opened and then ditched.
Yeah,
Dang.
we totally bailed to go see Say Anything.
What a like a
I don't think I
Statement.
regret it though. Like,
You're, like,
that was a
making a
great
statement.
show. Motion City
By, like-
and Say Anything was great together.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure it was awesome.
I wasn't a big May fan back then. Like now I am, and I
Yeah.
would have enjoyed it more.
Right.
But back then I was like, I don't really know who May is, so whatever.
Ever who? Glowing what?
Exactly. So that's about all my research for this. I'm curious, like, what was happening with y'all around this time of this record? Like, how much did you listen to it? How much were you exposed to it? What was your recollections of when it came out? It feels like so long ago, but it was only like
Damn.
at the time we were recording, it's only like 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. Before this episode, I listened to it all the way through exactly once.
Just the one time. Wow.
Yeah, because I was really excited about it, and then I was like, okay. And we'll get into it when we get more into the
Okay.
record itself. It didn't make a huge impression on me, but it's also not the kind of music that I gravitate towards the most nowadays, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think for me, like I was listening to a lot of like just straight up like indie garage rock at the time. And so that's where my head was at. And like I even remember distinctly having Fleet Fox's Crack Up on And then at the same time as like being in the middle of that album, which is like this, kind of weird chamber folk sprawling like existential sad boy album. In the middle of that, I saw that they had a new album out, ACB, this album, and I was like, oh, maybe I should listen to that. So I stopped Crack Up and I put on Scream Through the Walls.
It's a big difference there.
And I was like, nope.
You're like, not feeling this.
Immediately jumped back into the Fleet Foxes album.
That's funny.
And then I later came back to it and listened to it probably 2 or 3 times and still just like wasn't in love. Nothing like hooked me. And so I just like didn't come back to it really all that much until now. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
See how it hit me this time, I guess.
What about you,
Very
Josh?
interested.
What were your first impressions when this first came out?
I mean, like, I liked it. It didn't like hit me as much as like obviously any of their other stuff did.
Right.
But like as we talked about before, and I think in the first episode, it's like I already knew it was at a huge disadvantage because you're like, I've been listening to these other records for like almost a decade at this point.
Right.
Like they're so like they're all some of my favorite records. I have listened to them front to back so many times that like of course I'm not gonna immediately just like jump into and be like, yes, this is just as good as these. So I knew it kind of had a handicap, but I still enjoyed it a lot. And then I think cards on the table, I think some of my experience with this record is going to be skewed because of like just what was happening around the time. Like I saw ACB in 2018. They put on a great show and Matt Goldman was there, and that was my wife's first time seeing As Cities Burn, so it was fun like to get to like, experience that with her. Yeah, because they're one of her favorite bands. So like we got to experience a new record from one of our collective favorite bands together and see them live in 2018. And then they toured their headlining tour for this album. They did the next year, toured with All Get Out, and that was a great show where All Get Out and ACB. And like, so I saw 2 years, I thought just 2 great tours, like right around this time were sandwiched with this record. So like, it wasn't like my favorite ACB record and I wasn't like jamming it like nonstop, but I think it has a lot of just like great times associated with it that I was like, yeah, this is good. And I knew I know this just needs more time for me to probably come around to it and it to maybe just go up in notches compared to the other 3 records.
Right. And it makes sense that experiential substance that was added to your experience is going to inform how you feel about the album.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Kind of gave it some weight, some heft.
Definitely.
Yeah, I did not have that.
Same.
I didn't get to see him around this time.
Well, that's good because I think I'm definitely like colored by that with how I look at this album and everything like that. So I'm very curious to see like since y'all didn't have that, how you feel about this record and the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's as good a place as any to jump right into the record, right?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Trivial Trivia. This is a segment where I share obscure and trivial information related to the album or artist we're discussing each episode. If you've been listening to our ACB miniseries, I'm sure you've heard me incessantly talk about Matt Goldman. If you're tired of it, I understand, but I'm sorry, and I'm going to talk about him one more time. As you may know, Matt Goldman has produced dozens of amazing records within the church jam scene, from The Chariot, to Under Oath, to Copeland, to As Cities Burn, and so many others. But today I want to talk about one of my favorite albums that isn't necessarily in this scene. In 2013, Moving Mountains released their third, and at the time of this recording, their final record. It is self-titled, which you may know I'm not big on, but I'll make an exception here because this record is just perfect. I don't know how I can concisely describe this record, but just imagine the perfect afternoon drive in fall or spring, and that's this record. Of course, I recommend the whole thing, but if you want a couple songs to start with, I'd say Swing Set, Hands, Eastern Leaves, and Chords, which I understand is basically half the record, but that just goes to show you how great the whole thing is. Moving Mountains, the band, is credited as producer on the record, but they recorded it at Glow in the Dark Studios with Matt Goldman. He also mixed their 2011 record Waves, which I also really like. That does it for this episode of Trivial Trivia. Listen to Moving Mountains' self-titled record, and let's get back to church jams now.
Hey Jammers, we're going to interrupt your listening to talk about our Patreon a little bit because, it's 2023, new year, new bit. And our biggest bit has been restructuring our Patreon. We're super excited. And just like the last Patreon ad, the other guys are here. I don't know why they're being weirdly silent.
Sorry. I was updating Patreon bots firmware.
Oh, why? Why?
I was a little busy.
Is it because of the trivia night?
Yeah, because of trivia, like we need, hard and fast factual data to be ready to give the answers.
Processing power needs to be on point.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
lot of
the
work.
whole thing is, so we're offering for our patrons a trivia night 4 times a year. We're going to do it quarterly. I don't know if I'm super comfortable with the fact that like Patreon bot will probably win because the winner is going to get like cool stuff.
No, he can't compete. He has to give the answers. He's
Oh my God.
yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry, man. I talked to him about this.
You did? What did he say?
He shut down for a while because he was very awkward, and that's what he does whenever he can't deal with like an awkward social situation.
Yeah,
But then when he came back online,
anxiety.
yeah, he does. But when he came back online, he said he totally understood, and he's happy to help. Do you want me to go get him? Like I can
Please,
find him if
please,
you-
please. Can you go get him for
Hey,
me?
Patreon bot, come here. Sorry, his operating system is still uploading. So
Yeah,
give me.
no, he's got kind of a different vibe than he used to have.
For that new year, new firmware.
New year, new firmware.
Greetings, user Kylan and
Wow.
user Josh.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, okay.
Patreon bot, did you update your language program?
Yes, I am vaguely European now.
Yeah, you sound a little Irish.
Vaguely European.
No, I am more Scandinavian.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about our trivia night that we have coming up on March 15th?
I'm very excited about trivia night.
What can you tell us about the trivia night?
I can tell you that the answer is 3.14567289.
Okay, well, I can guarantee that that's
14
not an answer to any of the trivia questions, but
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry, I gotta do some more reprogramming for Patreon bot before he's ready for trivia night. I am so sorry.
I think so,
Really,
man.
he's got some issues.
But guys, we have so many things to offer on our Patreon coming up this year. For just $2 a month, you get the show early and you get our monthly WCJN show where we talk about things that haven't quite made it on the full show. Josh did an episode on a very Jason Martin Christmas, and I did a sweet, sweet bass roundup of some of the sweetest bass that we have covered thus far on the show and kind of diving into why I love sweet, sweet bass. Yeah, we have our trivia night coming up. It's a live Zoom event that we're going to do. Anyone that's a patron can come and hang out and play some fun trivia with us. Patreon bot
wait.
may or may not be there. We don't know yet. If we get his firmware updated in time.
Yeah,
Depends on the updates.
Yeah,
we'll
yep.
see.
Yeah, so check us out at patreon.com/churchjamsnowpodcast. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Josh is yawning, so I think that's the end of the ad.
It's good. Sorry.
So, starting off with track number 1 of 2019 Scream Through the Walls, we have Live Convinced.
Can you be convinced? You're not invincible. You're not invincible. Can you be convinced?
It's actually very long.
You're no exception.
Okay, I was like, is it playing?
It is playing, it's just
Okay,
very
I think
low
I
and
hear it,
very
yeah.
long.
Yeah, it's very ethereal and like makes you lean in a little bit.
I do love the weird little crushed, like bit crushed, like chopped scream in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know what you guys think of this song.
I kind of love it.
Yeah, is he like using a vocoder? Is that what
I think
that is?
so. I
with
think
this?
it's their
Yeah.
second
Okay.
vocoder.
Yeah,
we
we're
we
back
talked
at
about that in the
vocoder.
Hawkboy episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
He must have fallen in love.
And I like that like him and TJ come in at the same time. Like that's a cool way to start the record of
Yeah.
like we're both
Nice.
here.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it's like a statement. Like, hey, we're both doing vocals on this one. Get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really dig this song. I think the lyrics are like unassumingly strong.
I'm only laughing because all of my notes are all the exact opposite of what y'all have said.
Oh, really?
That I think the intro falls flat. I love TJ's voice on this whole record, and I like most of their interplay. I didn't like them. I don't like the song, and I felt lyrically it was kind of a step back for the ACB we've come to know and love over the course of this series.
It definitely doesn't hit the same lyrically for me. Like, it's definitely a notch below the other records lyrically, if I'll just say that over the whole record right now. So I'm with you on that.
I'll say I found myself all over the place in this album as far as how I felt about the lyrics. But this one for me was actually strong when I read the lyrics, specifically when I read them.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why. This is one of those albums that I think, well, at least this song, you kind of have to read the lyrics to maybe understand the intent in how they're delivered, because it's something as silly as parentheses. So like, I don't know if y'all read the lyrics on this one, but like the way it's written, that first, like the intro section is I am parentheses what, hoping you will find parentheses binds, I am parentheses you. I like that because it's like you can read it multiple ways. You can read it as like I'm hoping you will find what binds you, or I am hoping you will find I am. So it's like asking if you can find like spirit, source, God, creator, Jesus, whatever word you want to use. And I think the intention is to read it as both, because then it kind of interpolates at the end like I am hoping you will find, you can open your mind, and will find you, and what it is that binds you will be bound. So there's like a really cool sort of rhyming
like
structure
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like that because it's simple, but it's kind of profound if you spend some time with it. Or at least that's how it hit me. But it was only in reading the lyrics that I felt that way. Listening to it, I was like, this is lame.
Yeah. Can I give like
stupid.
a goofy reductive counterpoint to that? Just
reduce it
for this. And it's like I didn't buy a dang book. I bought an album. And so if those ideas aren't coming across musically, then I think, it's like, I'm not reading
the lyrics.
I'm not reading a book of poetry. I don't 100% agree with what I just said. Like I said, I was
because you've been a big proponent of like physical media this whole podcast. So
but at the same time, I like your point, and I think that's good. I think,
but
it is
you're
cool
right.
how
It's a weak point that like it can't translate like what I dove into.
On one hand, it's saying is like there's more to the record if you
work.
spend time with it and dive into it a little bit more. But at the same time, it's not grabbing you as much as it should. So.
Yeah, and I'll concede your point too, Kylan. Like that my first listen for this little recording session, I was like, I'm gonna let it wash over me and see how it feels. And then it was on the second one that I decided to read it, and it wasn't until then that I really like kind of let it wash over me in that way. And it's like if it can't do that on the first listen, there's something to be said for that. That's like a weak. It's a weak.
But I do end up like reading lyrics like specifically for this show because I don't really pay attention to lyrics otherwise. It is a little bit of a bummer that because Spotify has started the thing where they have like lyrics and stuff,
right?
And like 3 or 4 of the songs on this record just don't have lyrics to them. I don't know who is in charge of that, but get on it. Get on it. I want to read my dang book of poetry while I listen to my record.
On my app.
Do you or don't you? Which one is it?
Who knows, man? Who knows? I thought when he sings "You're Not Invincible," that was like really catchy. That was the first like really catchy moment on the record.
There's a good guitar part there too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't find a ton of like catchy moments on the record the way I have specifically with like Hell or High Water.
Right.
Going back to just this song as in general, I view this as like almost just a glorified intro track. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I view it. Like this is an intro track, but they're having a little more fun with it. Like it's longer than like your typical 1 to.
That being said, I might have enjoyed it more if it was like a minute and a half. Like if it was treated as like fully like an intro track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I feel like there's a lot of like energy and tempo changes that it does a lot of cool stuff in there. I did want to mention at 2:30 they like stop and there's like hits on the guitar and it's like got an LFO. I'm assuming Cody was using the Walrus Audio Julia at the time a lot, so I'm assuming it's that like in like the vibrato mode. But like the speed changes as it goes on, which I'm like that's kind of like a callback to in Empire where the tremolo speed was changing. So I was like, I like that a lot.
I noted, specifically things I would not have noticed, specific like callbacks and things that I would not have noticed had we not have basically just spent the last month only listening to As Cities Burn. Yeah. So there are some cool moments like that on the record.
Yeah.
They seem to really love the like glitchy industrial sounds on this record.
Yeah. It feels
and
like
I'll get into that more, but what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say it feels like this record is like what would have happened if they hadn't lost TJ but like tried to just like catapult into the future of like production technology and what sounds would have been cool in the future and just made a record that wasn't Come Now Sleep, basically.
That is exactly the note that I have on another song that I was like, I think I would have enjoyed this record a lot more were this the second record after Son I Loved You.
Yeah.
With like original lineup ACB second record, the one that I think most people anticipated. And I guess in a way it kind of is, but it feels like there's a little bit of erasure of what the band kind of became in the intervening years.
Right.
Yes.
A lot on this record that kind of throws me for a loop that like took a couple listens to kind of like get past, to be like, that I'm guessing because we talked about that, like a lot of like, we didn't really get into them until Come Now Sleep, but they like considered like even changing their band name, and how I imagine a lot of people going from Son I Love You to Come Now Sleep were thrown for a loop of like, is this the same band? It's kind
ironic.
of that,
so the people that were thrown for the loop when Come Now Sleep happened are not thrown for a loop when Scream Through the Walls happened. But people who like us are the opposite.
Right.
Well, it's so interesting because it's like, would it have changed our opinion of the album if it had been album 2 as opposed to album 4?
Right.
Like, how interesting is that like this band exists in the form that it does now and came out with the album that it did, 3 years ago. And it's like, it might as well have been the second album sonically.
Right.
But it basically just skips, the sort of sonic touchstones of Come Now Sleep in a way, and definitely Hell or High Water. Like, this sounds nothing like
alternate universe.
Is this the same band at all? Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, it's almost like it feels like a reboot, with TV shows or movies or whatever. It feels like, okay, it's just like, here's another Batman movie. It's like, we're just going to ignore like the past 6 Batman movies, but it's still kind of tied to some of these other tangential Batman properties.
Same characters.
And like, yeah, exactly. But it's like its own thing. And so it took me a little bit to kind of get my head around that.
Same.
No, I love that. I do have a quote from an interview that Cody did with Kerrang around the time where he was asked, was it hard getting back into the swing of things? Were you trying to capture your old sound or do something new? And Cody said, back when TJ left, we put out our second record, Come Now Sleep, and we had people telling us that if TJ had stayed, we would be so much bigger. I always laughed at the idea, but it was always in the back of our minds. Now we've recorded something that will answer that question. That said, I'm certain we haven't found the sound we would have found back then if TJ had stayed, because it's been so many years and we've all grown from that. This is just what it is now. This is what we're doing now. The sound would be different even if TJ didn't come back.
Right.
But yeah, I think he's kind of using it as like okay, everyone always said we'd be big if TJ came back.
Right.
Like, this is your chance,
So,
people,
let's
to
see.
make us big.
Yeah.
So I like catch like, it sounds like he's being a little
There's a little
snarky in there.
attitude.
There's a little Lunsford snark in there. Yeah.
I do like that.
I love that. Yeah.
Cool.
It's a cool opener. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's not my favorite, but I like it for what it is.
Yeah, same. Only last note I have on this is that Cody recorded an acoustic reimagined version for a compilation in 2020 called Safe and Sound, an isolation compilation.
Oh, that's
So yeah, whenever I
check
think a
that
bunch,
out.
there was a bunch of artists on there. So it's a lot different, but it's kind of cool.
I watched an interview with him where he mentions, and I'll talk a little more about it later, but he mentions that this is one he was really excited about playing live when they were first releasing the album and touring on it, which I thought was interesting because, like we've said, it's almost like a glorified intro track, and it's like that's the one that you're excited to play live.
But I could see after
I'm sure how broody they got on later stuff. Like they're gonna
There you
we're gonna
go.
come back with some high energy.
yeah, and having
that
his
makes
brother
sense.
back and like
Yeah,
totally.
this is a little bit of like a statement, like more so than the singles of like this is ACB, like we're back.
Right.
So cool. Well, let's move on to track number 2, Broadway.
Broadway, more like wide road. Am I right?
He does like his themes, you know?
Yeah.
He's consistent.
I wrote that I think this should have opened the album. Oh, can I just hold on before we like really get into it? Can I just to go back to our earlier point? I'm just gonna share my screen with y'all real quick. This is what's on Spotify.
To guess the lyrics for this. Nice. So you like this? Do you think this would have been better as track 1?
I think so. I think this is more in line with.
I do kind of like how it would have been like of Cody. Like you've had Cody in the band for so long, and he's
Yep.
the first voice you hear, and then
Right.
kind of like an 84
Yep.
Sheepdog thing. Then TJ can come in
Yep.
again.
Yep. That
That'd
was
be a
kind
cool
of the
dynamic.
thing. Like it feels like this ties back a little more to their previous discography and who they were as a band.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So this one I liked a lot more. If I was doing an alternate track list, this would be my opening track.
Right. I think it was like obviously the thematic move of live convinced, die contrary. Sure.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
But I agree. I think that would be a fun opening track.
Yeah, and this definitely feels like more like the first one. I was like, it's fine, but this one, I'm like, okay, I like this one a lot more. And like you said, it does feel more connected to like previous ACB stuff, but obviously there's a lot of new stuff happening here, so that you're like, okay, it doesn't sound like they're just trying to recreate an old record here, but it
Right.
does feel connected a lot more.
There was enough that was familiar. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
Right.
I love TJ's voice on this record. It's like it's a really raw kind of scream, but you can tell his voice is stronger.
Yeah, he's developed it a lot more.
Yeah, he's a better vocalist. Like
Yeah.
he's kind of learned some technique along the way.
But there are some times on this record where I felt like they processed his voice too much. Like they put too many like glitchy effects and stuff on it, or like chopped and screwed it too much. But this is my favorite song on the record.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, coming in early. It was between this and one other one, and I decided I had the other one in my notes, but just listening to it again now, I'm like, no, okay, it is this one.
On the fly decision. I like it.
Hey, have you met me before?
Who are you? Have you been doing this podcast this whole time?
On the first song, there's like a cool, like the bass is like the first thing that comes in. And there's like, so Stephen Keach is on bass for this one, of course. And I liked his bass parts on here. He's not doing anything like flashy or like crazy musical, but
Right.
like it supports everything really well. And the tone is great. So like, I like the bass on it. It's just like a good supporting role on this record, which is like different compared to like, we had bass notes on Come Now Sleep, and we had like obviously the sweetest bass of 2023 on
Right.
Hell or High Water. So
Right.
it's a lot. It's a little bit different there and changes the dynamics. And I feel like overall, like the classic ACB drum fills and guitar riffs are more understated here, but they're still like on this song and the overall record, but they're still like
Yeah.
present enough, but it's not like you're not hearing stuff as often as you did on previous records where you're like, that part was crazy, this part was crazy kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot. There's not as much like switching of parts and stuff, but the drums are still just really solid though.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah,
like-
it does feel like they're less in jazz band mode on this album. They're more in wall of sound mode.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, I agree.
Scream through the wall of sound.
yeah, exactly. That's how the production treatment feels across this album. Is like
Yeah.
just kind of everything all the time. There's good bass, there's good drums, but it's all just coming at you. Like a lot of the time, there's
Yeah.
not as much of these like solo moments and like lead.
It
moments
reminds
and
me more of
exchanges.
like Memphis Mayfire than anything.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
Early Memphis,
that
late Memphis,
like
or-
late Memphis, like this sort of like this like post the wave of super poppy metal, like A Day to Remember and stuff like that. But still utilizing a lot of those techniques, like a lot of the like super compression on everything.
Right.
And like, let's add some weird glitchy stuff, just cause, but
Yeah, like hyper pristine.
yeah, it's
sounding
very
mixes.
like modern metal to me.
right.
Yeah, I could see that.
As opposed to like kind of the, I don't know, indie blues kind of sound they had.
Yeah, there wasn't a,
treatment
yeah,
that they
everything.
had on Hell or High Water.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't feel as like spread out. Like it felt like, because of the production of the album, Hell or High Water feels like they're all kind of like spread out, but it feels like they're all in a tiny room playing like right next to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Another big change I noticed on this album was like kind of lyrically and conceptually. It seems like I don't know who all is writing lyrics. Like I don't know how much of this is Cody and how much is TJ, but it's like a lot of it feels like they're bringing in the sort of polarized political atmosphere at the time and like more social issues, like on top of individual stuff and like any kind of religious or faith related stuff. It really feels like they're bringing in a lot of that kind of political and social angle, which
Right.
was really interesting. It's almost like a response to the Trump era or
It's
the-
that's
the
kind of what
polarity.
everyone that was doing
Yeah.
anything creative was doing in 2018.
How could you not? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. So it feels very of its time. Like it's an era specific record.
Yeah, it definitely feels more externally focused than like any of the rest of their stuff. Like looking
Yeah.
at people in society versus like Cody's just looking at himself or like the church.
Right.
Well, it's
right.
interesting because it feels like actually, I don't know, maybe this is just my read on it, but it feels like he kind of did a lot of all of it. But it's just for the first time he's bringing in those social components and those political components,
Mm-hmm.
and not just the kind of like self introspection stuff. Like not, it's not as singular a record
Right,
as far
right.
as the themes. It's like very dynamic.
Yeah.
I don't
Us
know if I
instead
like
of
it.
me.
I don't know if I hate it. I just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
the
yeah.
jury's out kind of.
Right, right.
Like I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
this is new. This is different.
New year, new bit.
2019
New
year,
bit.
2019.
I mean, and there's a lot of moments honestly lyrically that fall flat. Like
Yeah.
the "We Got Enough," really you don't even know. Like what are you saying?
do I
actually?
know?
Like because they
Right.
repeat that line, and there's a lot of that throughout this album. They kind of repeat these lines that are kind of, I don't know.
There's a
kind
lot of
oblique.
There's a lot
Like-
of repeating very simple lines.
And we spoke about the simplicity as a strength of the lyrical writing in the past. And I don't like there's sometimes where that seems to land here, and there's also sometimes where the simplicity is maybe like they're kind of shrouding themselves in vagueness as opposed to like using simplicity as a strength.
Right.
I don't know. It
That-
makes me think of your critique of "Son, I Loved You," like lyrically, Kylan, when you
Yeah.
were like, it's like flowery high school stuff, kind of hiding behind prosaic speech.
And yeah,
Right,
maybe that's
right.
just the dynamic of when TJ and Cody are writing together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think there's something there.
I think so too. But TJ, I'm glad to hear you're kind of on the same page
Yeah,
on this record as me, because that's kind of where I keep falling. I'm like, yeah, this is different. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yep.
know how I feel. Like I can't fully. I can't say that I hate it. I can't say
Yep.
that I love it. I'm I might be ambivalent towards it, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
But well, let's move on to track number 3 unless we have anything else for this. Cool. Track number 3, 2020 AD.
This was like their first single that they released in like 2018. And maybe it's just because I know that, but like because I know that they did it first and it came out first. But whenever like in the track list, when you go from track 2 to track 3, like sonically, it feels like it doesn't come in with as much like of a hit. So I don't know if it was like because it was mixed earlier and they maybe used the same mix and it was like, but there's something there. Yeah. Cause I'm like, as soon as that first hit's like gone, and then the song starts, then it's fine. But like when you go from track 2 to track 3, you're like,
the transition itself is a little wonky.
It misses a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
Like they could have benefited from a little connective tissue or like something more similar to the first track, like some kind of like intro into it or something. Yeah,
totally. I will say though that this is the first track where it felt like there was some of those hooky poppy elements that we've appreciated from Cody's writing in the past. Like for me, this was the first moment where I was like, oh, like the gotten out of hand line is like really hooky and that riff is like really catchy. It feels very iconic. Like I remember this track. You know, once the album's over, the things that are left with me, like this is one of the moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep. My only note was I'm bored with this song.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah. I don't know. It all just feels very like it all kind of stays at the same kind of level.
Yeah,
It
like
doesn't like do a whole lot.
the same sonic dynamic, like all the way through.
Yeah. And as catchy as Cody's vocals line are, they are like a little bit we've talked about this on previous records. He has that tendency to like get a little drony. And this song in particular, I feel like you really feel it. Like, yeah, it's just kind of there, you know?
Yeah.
That surprises me that this was like a big single because this feels like filler.
Yeah, this was the big one they used. Yeah. I do like the part that they do. I think it's at 131 where like the bass cuts out and then comes in like they like switch up the beat a little bit and the bass drops out and then it like come in kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I like that part a lot. But yeah, overall, this is just not like one of my favorite songs on the record. Yeah, so it like leaves some space there. So I do like that part a lot. You have the whole Cody singing his catchy part, and then you have like the musical stuff that's interesting behind it as well.
Right.
Some sweet Lunsford drum rolls at the very end of the song that I like.
Yeah.
True. Once again, his drumming I think was my favorite part of this whole record.
Oh wow. Right on.
And TJ's vocal. I liked the addition
Yes.
of TJ's vocal. I wish. I don't know. I don't want to.
Yeah, because how do you feel about it compared to, because you felt like when they were doing the double vocals on Sign I Loved You that they were kind of stepping on each other's toes. Like, how do you feel about the dynamic between both of them
We'll talk
now?
about it on another song.
Oh, okay, fine.
I have like I think literally. Yeah. We'll talk about it on another song.
Is that your only note on another song, so you don't want to?
Potentially. Yeah. We got to spread them out, y'all. I've already wasted like half my notes on some of the other songs because I didn't have much to say. Yeah. We got anything else about 2020 AD?
Yeah, basically all my notes are lyrics. So
Cool. Let's go for it.
if that's okay. I like that this one was sort of it's funny. It's a little like prescient because of when this album came out, but the song is about the year 2020.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And they talk about like our tendency as a culture to be overly self-involved and cut off from each other, like isolated.
Right.
And there's more later on in the album about that idea, but the fact that this song exists the way it does, and like the hello so long, I think that's actually a lyric that I would say is kind of weak, and it's again that kind of like same simple line repeated, and it could have been better, it could have been stronger, but because 2020 was the year that it was,
Right. Yeah.
retrospectively, it's like it hits
In
hello,
2019,
so
you're like,
long.
oh, whatever. But in 2020 or 2021, you're like, dang, I feel
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
But like, that's not to their credit. That's just like the chaos of the universe.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
But it does make me appreciate the song more, which is so funny.
Yeah.
And I love that. You know, they're talking about like the modern age of smartphones and like social media cutting us off and making us distractible and short attention spans, blah, 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 and like dividing us.
Right.
But like there was also a pandemic that divided us and they had no way of knowing that, but they kind of
Right.
called it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love that.
I will say a note on some of that stuff, like, because they're talking about like social media and like phones and stuff like that. And even like pandemic stuff. Like when I've heard like lyrics talking about the pandemic, I'm like, this is obviously there's a lot you can talk about this from a lot of angles, but I'm really not interested in hearing about it. So like whenever someone like has a
Right.
song where it's like talking about like phones and stuff like that, I'm like, I understand that that's something we need to address as a society, but that's not what I want to hear about in a song. Like,
Right.
that's not like the
I'd buy
subject matter
I'd buy
I
a
want.
dang book if I wanted to
Yeah,
know
I read the
about
New
it.
Yorker for that. It's like I'm not
What is
trying
with
to
your hate of books
I don't
in this
know.
episode, Kyle?
I'm very anti-literary this episode.
A lot's changed.
I know. I don't know.
Also, you guys, he did the thing again. At the end of this song, he says, "It's been a long time. It's been so long. Call me soon and we'll catch up. Hate to be so out of touch now. It's nothing personal. You're just so out of sight and out of."
Oh, they cut it off.
Yeah.
He doesn't finish the line. He doesn't say the last word. He leaves us wanting more. We talked about that in Hawkboy, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Was that when I mentioned that?
Yeah.
I love that. I think
I
it's
do too.
an effective, like, musical trope. I don't know. I dig it.
It's like a little
He
trick.
did it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying Cody gets off on being withholding?
Yep. That's exactly what I'm saying. And I'm here for it.
A little trickster.
Keeping my deep cut Arrested Development references in 2023, guys.
I know you really are, man.
Boom, boom,
New year,
boom.
same bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to track number 4. Hollowed Out.
So this is the point in the record where things start to get a lot better for me. Like
Yep, for
from
sure.
here on
For
till
sure.
the end, I'm like, yes, this is what I'm
Yeah.
here for on this record. And this is my favorite song on the record.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
But
wow.
yes, but from here on out, I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted. The first 3 tracks, I'm like, I like Broadway more than 2020 AD and Live Convinced. But from here on out, it's like, yes, much better.
What about this sort of stood out to you and helped lift your experience?
Well, I feel like you automatically like have like some more classic ACB guitar parts kind of happening when Cody's singing here. I still think they do a really good job of like changing up the verses and like having TJ and Cody interplay with each other, but in like interesting ways. I really like how they balance them. This one just seems to really come together, and I am pretty sure it's the most streamed song on Spotify, so I'm not the only one that thinks that as well.
Oh, wow.
This one is just so good. I love how like heavy and big it gets in the chorus, and it like kind of halftimey in a way that This Is It kind of was a little bit. And I don't know, this is like one of their heavier moments in like their whole catalog, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I like it.
I do too. This is the one that I was talking about in the last song. I think their voices work super well together.
Yeah.
Like they have, to me, figured it out of like singing certain lines together and then branching off and coming back together. It works super well.
And I feel like you get the perfect mix of both of them. Like you don't feel like on the first record you get some Cody in there, but it's a lot of TJ, and then obviously other ones it's all Cody. But here you get a good amount of both of them.
both. It's like a balanced
Yeah.
effect. Yeah.
The one thing I don't like though is that, this is the song where they do the. Hold on, I'm trying to remember where it is. I didn't write down a time code. I wasn't smart enough. This is the like where the vocal, it almost feels like a filter, or like it starts to get pitched up.
The speed
It
like
works.
And
changes
the speed,
ramps
yeah,
up.
it like
You don't like that?
stresses me out. I get it. I get that's like the point, but that doesn't mean I have to like it.
everything. Everything,
It's just
Dylan.
like, it just like stresses me out, man.
That's funny because I mentioned that as something I liked because that's also something they did That was the production trick they used that I mentioned in, I don't know, Hell or High Water or Hawk Boy.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't remember.
And I was
that.
like, I love that. I love when they do that. And they did it again. And I like it. But it makes sense. It's weird. It's chaos. Like, it's total chaos. So I can see how it would be like really stressful.
it's funny.
It just stresses me out, but
Because there's already a lot going on.
mhm.
Like, it's a busy moment in the song. And then they just like throw a little more insanity into it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this whole song is pretty like action packed. There's a lot. It's
Yeah.
full. It's got like production wise, it's got a lot of like parts happening and stuff like that. Not a lot of space to breathe, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This one just feels it has all the stuff that you want on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
Josh, here we are again with the title track being
what I was
heard
just about to say.
in the song.
Ooh. So
fave.
now we are 3 of their 4 albums have that. Because I don't think
Yeah.
Hell or High Water is a lyric on the record,
Right.
right?
I
Which is
don't
cool
think
because
that
that
I know
means
of.
As Cities Burn has 0 title tracks, which I'm about.
Well done.
I know you love it. You
I
love,
love that. I love
Give
that.
them their medal.
No proper title tracks. That's really why I'm an As Cities Burn fan. I'm like, oh,
That
no
makes
title
sense to
tracks?
me.
I'm
Only
in.
that.
Yeah.
it. It makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
Favorite.
And I like that the title, the album title lyric is so strong in the context of the song.
Right.
It's a powerful turn lyrically, like thematically.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if y'all have heard this, but Cody said that it's about his struggle of like
Yeah.
depression or isolation and feeling separated, and how sometimes we feel like we're in different rooms, but if we scream through the walls, like
Right.
together, it feels like we can be connected again. Which again is going back to the social commentary on.
That's what I was gonna say, and they, they also continued the theme that they've done on every album of like snowballing, of like this song.
Yes.
I feel like is kind of like a
Continuation.
sequel
Yep.
to the song before. It's like continuing some of those themes, but making it less macro and more like micro and like
Yep.
personal.
Absolutely,
Which is why I probably, I like this one a little bit more too,
yeah,
lyrically.
yeah. It's strong for that reason. This was a high point for me lyrically
Nice.
on the album.
So we haven't hit your favorite one yet, though, TJ, right?
I mean, Kylan pooped on it, but I really like Live Convinced.
Hey, I mean that's fine. Like, yeah, you're allowed to
I
like
just
it.
You did that to my
I want to
favorite
like
one on
everything
Sunday
you
Love
like,
so-
Kylan.
No, I hate.
I want to be
that.
the same as you.
I hate that.
I want to live inside your brain, man.
No, you do not. I guarantee you do not. No,
I'm kidding.
It would be looking upon the mountains of madness. Like you would, it would be like you would, in very Lovecraftian style, your hair would turn white and you would gouge your eyes out.
Are there Cthulhu monsters floating in space behind me?
Always, but they're constantly laughing at Josh's Arrested Development references.
Perfect.
That's why I make them, trying to bring a
That's
little
your
calm
sacrifice to the
mountains
to
of
the
madness.
to the eldritch horrors inside my brain.
Listen, man, if there was a soundtrack for that, it would be this album. That's all I'm going to say.
Maybe.
Just scream through the walls, Kylan. Just scream through,
Nice.
man. In your isolated room.
No, I'm saying maybe.
Track
Track
five.
number 5. Maybe.
I
got
got that was so good. That was
I was
so
following.
that was so organic.
It was so
I didn't even catch it.
smooth that
Wow, you got me.
I was with you.
You did.
Thanks.
Maybe. I might have been.
Maybe I was so mad, can't remember nothing. Maybe I was completely at peace. I want you to remind me.
This one I feel like lyrically feels like kind of most classic ACB in like Come Now Sleep. Like I feel
Yes.
like it's the most Come Now Sleep on this record.
Yeah.
100%. Totally agree. That's exactly what I said. I was like, thematically and sonically, this is Come Now Sleep.
Yes.
Yep. I like this song a lot. I love the drums on this song
Yeah, agreed.
because they're real chill, but they also like secretly are really driving the song forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Lunsford MO.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the placement of this record. So we're back to kind of like great sequencing. Because I feel like the middle of the record is the perfect place for this one.
Yep.
Yep.
Like bring it
Yeah,
down.
it closes out side A really
'Cause, I mean,
well.
I guess this is like the most chill or like soft song on the record, which it's not really. But compared
Well,
to
it's like
everything
a
else,
ballad almost.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
yeah,
know?
that's right. That's what it is.
Which feels great, yeah, where it is, like you're saying. He also leans into that Tom DeLonge on this,
For sure.
you know?
For sure.
Like, he's kind of doing that affected.
The nasally kind of thing.
But I love it.
Yeah, this one has some other callbacks. I feel like on the pre-chorus, when TJ comes in, there's like the guitar part is almost kind of like the alarm tone that we talked about in 127. Kind of like
yeah.
those big bends. So I was like, there's some callbacks. This has more nautical themes and motifs on it, of
Yes.
course. So that's
We're back to the
classic
maritime
ACB.
themes. So good.
And I really like
Bitches love the sea. Bitches is me.
It's so good. I love that. But to its credit, I really like at 2 minutes and 21 seconds, they go into a part that like it feels like you're swaying kind of on the ocean. So like I don't know, and I never caught that until like I was listening to it today, and I was like, oh, I like that. Like that part works for that with how it matches with the lyrics and like the overall like picture they're painting with the song. So I did
Right.
like that a lot.
The sonics matching up with the lyrics. It's the best.
Classic ACB, man.
They're back to being Louisiana's finest jazz band, baby.
I know. I was worried that they had lost it. But
They just got to talk about being back out on the ocean again. You know,
I know.
they've been out shrimping all day, and they got to come back.
That's what this song is about.
Shrimpin'.
Favorite song
About
about
shrimpin'.
shrimping. Bitches be shrimping.
What are your top 10 shrimping songs?
This. All 10.
This and the Hans Zimmer score to Forrest Gump.
Perfect.
Hans Zimmer.
I don't know who did it.
I was like, he didn't do it, did he?
He might have. I think he did. Hold on, now I gotta know.
No way he did. I'm gonna guess Alan Silvestri since that was.
Oh, it's probably Alan
that's
Silvestri.
my
Yeah,
guess.
you're
Since
right.
it was also
yeah.
what's his face, Bob
Zemeckis. Yeah.
Zemeckis. Yeah.
While you're looking that up, Kylan, that's super important. I'm going to talk about something not important at all, okay?
Not
You're right. It
shrimping,
was Alan
not
Silvestri.
very-
It was Alan Silvestri. You're right.
Oh,
you're
good,
right, you're
good,
right.
good.
All right, great. Glad we got that settled. I have a lot of cognitive dissonance with this song.
Okay.
And especially I would put it to you, Kylan, vibe guy, because vibe wise, I got kind of triggered, to be honest, because the chorus feels like a worship song, man. Like, it's so amazing. I made it
Interesting.
this far. You know, it's like very like
Interesting. Yeah.
emotive, like put your hands up.
Very
And
like
for me-
Hillsongy. Like yeah.
Yes, and for me, that's like, whoa, what are we doing? Like, it kind
Interesting,
of freaks me
yeah.
out a little bit. But the funny thing is, the lyrics are kind of, they're self-aware. They're like very,
Right.
they're very grounded in a way that I actually connect to, like, kind of spiritually or emotionally. So like, I'm listening to the words and I'm like, this is awesome. And then the music,
And then-
hits
but
me
then
and I'm
the
like,
vibe-
oh no.
It's like, oh, that's interesting. I did not
Is
pick
it just
up on that.
vibe
That's-
of it, or is it the lyrics?
Yeah.
So it's
Like,
like this 4/4
kind
kind
of-
of like 1, 2, 3, 4 worship, and the big
Yeah.
word is amazing, and I can't believe that I made it this far. Praise the Lord. You know,
oh my God.
it's
you
that kind
you
of
understand that I'm 100% taking your audio from that clip and making
Loop
a
it.
worship
Put
song.
a drum beat under
No,
it. Put
I
some
was just thinking, I was
Hillsong,
like, we
washy guitar
found
under it.
our promotional clip for this episode.
That's fine.
This is
I
going on
resign
the
myself to
reels.
my fate. I am the sacrifice. Worship and the big word is amazing. Worship and the big word is amazing. You've kinda made it this far. Praise the Lord. You've kinda made it this far. Praise the Lord.
Yeah, I mean that totally makes sense. And that's so funny that I didn't pick up on that vibe, but now that you're saying it,
Like if you
Like,
just
I don't-
repeated this chorus
right,
24 times and that was
Right,
the
right.
song, it's Hillsong.
then it would, yeah, for sure.
And then you got to have a 4-1-5-6 bridge.
Exactly.
Then you come back
Thank
to the
you.
chorus. Yeah.
But then the back half of the chorus lyrically is like, it's so amazing I made it this far. Once it crossed my mind, I would find a jumping ship. I can't believe I stayed afloat. I stayed afloat this long. That's like kind of reckoning with some stuff.
Yeah.
So that feels a little more grounded and real and human. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, I'm about this, but I just the feel was like, whoa,
Yeah.
Interesting. I think because I know like the second half of the chorus, like it's like I view the first half of that through that lens. So I don't feel like he's like, I think he's still just being like, oh, like it's amazing, but not like in like this celebratory way, like
no, I know
kind of thing. But yeah,
it's entirely the sort of delivery and the feel.
Yeah.
Chord
No,
progression
I totally didn't
and the
pick up
time
on that,
signature.
though. I love that.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just a weird.
No. No. It's not.
I want to ask Cody, like, hey man, like, are you like trolling? Is this like a send up of worship music? Like,
it very well could be, which would make me appreciate it even more.
Yeah.
Well, we got anything else on maybe?
Maybe.
I'm ready to change the song.
Nope. Shutting it
Why
down.
can't I do it, guys? You guys can do it.
I liked it, Josh.
Because you don't do it well.
That was terrible.
I liked it a lot.
All right. Josh, can you say that again? Can we get it clean?
Yeah.
For the podcast.
No.
Track 6, Chains. Chains feels like the name of a Hillsong song.
It does.
That has the word amazing in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like a real crowd pleaser song. Like it feels like when they were writing this, they were imagining playing this live.
100%.
The guitar is so good. This might be my favorite guitar on the record. The guitar throughout this song.
Yes, guitar is great on this one.
The only track to compete with Live Convinced for my favorite track on this album is this one.
Nice. Well, this is my first nod to Sweet Sweet Bass. This is where I first like really noticed it. Stephen Keach did like we were talking about, like he did a really good job throughout the record, like holding it down. But there's something about the tone. I think it was just a little up higher in the mix,
and it's groovy. This track is groovy. So it gives
groovy.
the bass room to like move.
It also has my favorite lyrical moment that I think is incredibly funny.
Tell me.
Where he says, "Thank God I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to die. Really, really though, I really am afraid to die."
TJ comes in and he's like, "I really
like really, really like." It's like, yeah, there's like all, because like that's such a like a rock and roll, anthem sing along, like I'm not afraid to die, and it's like, really though, really,
but actually,
I am afraid to die, and I love that. I really love that. I don't
That's
know why
helping me appreciate that line, because I kind of hated it because it was more that kind of like, it felt like more that oblique, like really, really though, I'm just saying words that have lots of consonants in them so that I can fill the space of the song. Really, really though, I am afraid, but.
Whoa, did KJ52 just show up on our podcast?
Yeah. No, it's Grits. I'm here.
It's me, Grits.
My life be like, really, really, my life be like, I'm afraid to die. My life be like, Grits.
That's like, have I told you guys I don't remember how it happened, but it's an inside joke with my wife and I where I use the Mario voice and I go, "It's me, Morrissey."
No, but I love that.
I think because I was trying to I did a Kermit the Frog impression, and then I was like, "Oh, he sounds kind of like Morrissey," and then I was trying to do a Morrissey impression, and I couldn't.
Can you
do it.
combine Morrissey, Mario, and Kermit for us right now?
No, I
clean
can't.
For the
I
episode?
can't.
I don't think the world is
do
ready
it.
for that.
I can't do it. No, it's literally impossible.
It's
me, Morrissey.
Morrissey talks to like in the back of like, it's like
I know
his like, yeah.
I can like
That's why he sounds like him
Kermit.
saying
Yeah.
anything, but I can't reproduce like his voice. Like I can
Right.
read stuff and imagine it in Morrissey's voice, but I can't like do
Well,
it.
I had because
He
I
did it with
had
Johnny
it.
Marr too.
I had it for like a hot second. I was doing the Morrissey impression, and then I lost it, so it turned into Mario. So I go, it's me, Morrissey.
Morrissey, it's a me, Johnny Mario.
Really, really though, I am afraid to die.
Me too. Me too.
I'm not afraid to die, but I'm a little bit scared of what comes after.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm. Yeah. Nice. Also, I really love Cody's vocal choice on eyes. Like he does this weird like line on the eyes part. It's seeing with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt so out of left field. And I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And also, why do I love it so much? Because it doesn't fit. It like feels like it shouldn't work under the chord or over the chord progression. And it's like, it's awesome. It's so
No, I do like that. That's a
weird.
good catchy part too. I feel like all the catchy stuff in this album is like later, like track 4.
Yeah.
Then it's like musically really solid, good like vocal stuff here. This was the one I had my note on. Like TJ's vocals have gotten really good on this record.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious what y'all think about the lyrics in the bridge where they say, "Love is the end, love is the means," and they're screaming at this kind of like gang vocally or whatever. Which I'm like, I really like it. And I'm like, it could very well be cheesy or cliche, but like I feel like it's coming from a genuine place with them. And so like how
right.
they've kind of done that in the past of like saying like just simple stuff where you're like, I mean, that could be cheesy, but I feel like you believe it and you mean it. So
Yep.
it gets a pass from me.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I loved it. I
Okay.
think that's one of those like examples of the simplicity being effective, and it's
Yep.
like super anthemic, and like you said, Kylan, it's a crowd pleaser. Like especially this moment feels like the high energy moment.
Yeah,
with-
everyone
at a live show.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like I can imagine them doing like a 1 minute, like drum only audience scream that line just over and over
Totally.
again.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
super strong.
Really, really though.
Really, really though. They also have a moment in verse 2, I think it is, where they talk about it doesn't matter what change you choose, just as long as it's change you choose. Sort of the illusion of freedom, that kind of thing.
Right.
And it reminded me of a line from a song by Delta Spirit called Salt in the Wound that I love to cover. And I think it's a really cool song. It's similar themes. It says, if there's a God in my head, then there's a devil too. How can I tell the difference when they both claim to be true? Maybe God is God, maybe the devil's me. Well, I just throw my chains on and tell myself that I'm free. Chains, are they really there? Is this just in my head? Well, I'll stay in bed. And this feels like it's in the same sort of thematic realm as
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, doesn't matter what chains you choose, as long as it's chains you choose.
Right.
Super dark, but like
Yeah,
the best. So here's an
Yeah.
example again of
Super dark,
simplistic
But
lyrics.
the best.
Yeah.
Nailing it.
Yeah, this feels like a super dark song.
Which is
Yeah.
like funny
Yeah.
because like juxtaposed like a high energy crowd pleaser.
Right,
like,
exactly.
you're like, yeah.
But the bridge lands it with some
Yeah,
hope.
exactly.
Like love is the end, love is the means. Like that's what makes it all work, is it's like
Mhm.
setting it up with all this kind of dark thematic stuff, but then it's like
Yeah.
love is the end, love is the
The light
means.
breaks through and you're like, let's choose
Right.
that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The bright white
Yeah.
lights.
Really, really though. That's gonna be my new bit for 2023. Really, really though.
Just do it for the ACB series.
Well,
It ends
Really?
now.
all right. This has been Church Jams
I'm
Now.
just kidding. That's a joke.
Josh and
It's our
TJ
last
and-
one.
It's a meme. Morrissey.
Morrissey.
Alan Silvestri, what are you doing here? Let's- It's me, Alan Silvestri. That's so stupid. I'm
Grits.
losing my mind. Grits.
What are you
I feel
doing here?
like, I feel like Grits should do a podcast with the dude from Mercy Me.
Chat Bart.
Chat Bart. All right, track number 7, Bright White Lights. I like the synth on this.
Oh yeah, it was an interesting texture.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice it until you said it.
The guitar on this totally reminds me of the guitar from This Is It, This Is It.
Yes.
It feels
I
like a
said that
kind of
exact same thing.
sped up version a little bit, or like a more
Mhm.
frantic version of that.
Yep.
But it's got that kind of like that kind of like
Mhm.
Wheatley sound
Mm-hmm.
that I really loved.
Kind of jumping all around.
Yeah.
So it feels like a callback to that.
Yeah, and like we
Mhm.
said before, like there's not like a ton of like real big hooky guitar parts on there. So like
Mhm.
this one, and they use it so much in the song, which I'm not mad about because I'm like, yeah, that's what I want from As Cities Burn. Some like sweet guitar riffs.
Yeah. Guys, yeah, I'm way more about the side B of this record than the
No,
side A,
yeah, it's way better.
even though my favorite is on side A.
I wanted the lyrics on this one to be a little stronger. They're good. They seem a little like face value, I guess. They're like a little, but that's fine. Like sometimes you need those songs.
Yeah, but it does feel like there's a lot of like, all right, we came up with this one line. Let's just
Yes.
say it a bunch
That's
on
it.
this record. More
Like,
so
this
than
is
any
like
other
a quarter of a song as opposed to a
ACB.
full song.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
And I wonder if it's just like they were maybe just having more fun with the music on the
Yeah.
record, but it, you know,
I heard Cody talk about that, how like this album was an opportunity for them to kind of like not have any expectations and just kind of have fun. Like,
yeah.
and we talked about that a little bit with Hell or High Water. I think this is finally them hitting their stride with letting go of the critic portion
For sure.
of the
Yeah.
creative process or the critical mind. But it does. It's interesting because it's like we like when Cody seems tortured by perfectionism,
right.
you know. And then we get
The
this,
payoff
and we're
is
like,
great.
But it's yeah, it seems like they wrote this record with like once again with like live performance in mind.
right. Which
Because
probably
yeah,
works.
when you're playing a show, you know, and you just you have one line that you repeat a bunch, that's easier for everyone to like chant back to you. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
And the performance, as long as it's good, like brings the emotion. People
Right.
are gonna, be present with you. So that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say about this song.
It's got good energy, got good guitar parts. Oh, I really do like the part at 2:14 where they go into the halftime. That part
Oh, yeah.
is super good. Like, 'cause
Yes.
the song's been driving for so long, and then they like
Mhm.
go into the halftime part there, and it's just like so like, oh yes, so
Yep.
rewarding.
You were like wanting it.
Yes, but they
in the
held
back
off
of
for
your
like
head.
so long, and they're like, now we're gonna give it to you, and you're like, yes,
Uh-huh.
this is what I wanted the whole time.
Yeah.
This was one I feel like after the record came out, I feel like this was one that I think I was drawn to a little bit later. That was like, this was like a one I discovered. I was like, oh, I really like this song, I think, because of the guitar parts and stuff like that. So it took a little while for me to like be like, I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh, I wrote that as a grower because it was my
Yes.
third listen that I really liked the song. Took a second. Didn't dig it the first two. I needed some time.
Well, yeah. Well, here we are now.
Here we are.
This is it. This is it. Really, really though. So, Josh, would you say that, and TJ, I guess, before this listen, would you say that like track 7 was like kind of like a blind spot for you on this record?
No, I think track 8 is the blind
Ah,
spot.
okay. Well, here we go. Track 8, Blind Spots.
Love, come close, closer, let me let my guard down.
Thanks. I feel like we did that a lot. We did a lot more pun transitions, and then we kind of dropped off.
I'm glad we're bringing it back.
So we're bringing it back, man.
It all depends. I think it's all dependent upon like the records that you do. Because I mean, some
That's
records
true.
are very conducive to that. Some aren't.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yep.
I'm very curious, Kylan, about what you're going to think about this song. Because this is kind of like a left turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I like the idea of this song, production wise,
Mm-hmm.
but it ended up being way too like
Too industrial.
Too
Nine Inch Nails.
industrial, early 2000s, like on the Underworld soundtrack, like credit song. You know what I
Blue
mean?
and leather?
Yes,
it
very
cold?
yes. Wet.
Wet
And
blue.
Lots of wet vampires.
leather.
Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I wanted to like it. I really did.
Yeah. No, I feel similarly.
And is it just the production?
It's just the production.
Okay.
Lyrically, I like it. I love the guitar tone.
Mm-hmm.
and it does feel like, doing the kind of callback snowball kind of thing in this. Like, I feel like telling a personal story of the two brothers is like a big thing throughout all of their discography. So having something like that on this record, which is a lot sort of like kind of bigger, wider about everybody, like sharing those kind of like feels like really like personal kind of intimate moments. I was here for, but I couldn't get past the industrial production, man.
But hey, at least the second verse gives us an opportunity to slap down a spot on our Kylan songwriting bingo card.
That's true.
Sharing cigarettes with my
That's true.
brother.
Yep, that's true. I know.
All my friends are dropping tabs.
I know.
But I agree. It feels a little like, I don't know.
You know
It's
what
like
it feels like?
kitschy.
It feels less like early 2000s electro, and it feels like, I know you guys were going to shows a lot around this time too, but like Josh, when we were in like Del Sur, so like when was that, like 2011,
2011,
2012, I feel like it was
10,
like
11, I guess.
the thing for like metal bands to have like part of their set, like intro to a song or whatever, black out all the lights and have just like
Ambient.
some crazy electro thing that
Electronic.
like that the drummer made. You know what I mean?
Pad
As
with
either
an 808.
as either like an intro to the set or some point in the set. I feel like every band did that. And it feels like this was them being like, well, we never got to do that.
Let's do that.
Like, you know what I mean? But it feels like 10 years too late to jump on that trend.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like lyrically, the song again feels kind of half baked. Like it's like
Yeah.
an idea is there. I wish
Mhm.
they had written a little more on this song, like kind
Right.
of leaned into it a little more and gotten more expansive with it. But
Yeah, I never dug into the lyrics until this like listen, but I like the lyrics a lot more of like how they're talking about like blind spots of like you need people in your life to like see your blind spots for you and like bring those to your attention. So like, I really like that idea,
totally.
and I feel like you get like that with he's talking about his brother and like that could be him. His brother could be doing that for him. So I like that
Yeah.
aspect of it.
The sentiment is really beautiful.
But
Yeah.
yeah, TJ, like you said, though, it feels kind of half baked. Like, yeah, the idea is there.
it's like, we're
but
here.
It just doesn't.
Keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
We're with
is this the shortest song on the record too?
Yeah.
This feels like the least like complete. Like, kind of just like, well, I have this idea.
Right.
Well, they did it not with Matt Goldman, so maybe they like had like the idea. They're like, oh, let's do it with our friend, and he can put all these cicada hi-hat stuff on it, kind of stuff. And yeah, I like the idea of it too. I think it's just too much on the production side of it. But yeah, I think it's like for being a short song, like it's still like catchy and memorable, great guitar tone.
Yeah.
I like the lyrics. I like Cody's voice on it. I think if you tone down the production a little
I wish
bit
they had
more-
gone like the Widow route and just like stripped it all away.
Stripped down. Yeah.
I think would have been so good.
That'd be cool. I'd like to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, fun fact about this song, the vocals on this song are all from Cody's first take.
Oh, really?
Isn't that crazy?
That's cool.
Yeah. And he said the same thing about the second verse on Made Too Pretty.
Oh wow,
First take.
that's cool.
Like
Nice.
scratch
Wild.
vocals.
And we talked about that
They were
on like
intended to be the
how
scratch vocals.
Gates feels like a one take song vocally and stuff like that. So that's definitely something they've done, seem to have done throughout their catalog.
Yeah.
I like that they throw in a little like venture out tease like right at 2 minutes. Like they throw that in there.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's
nice. Yeah, that is cool.
Well, that seems as good a spot as any to venture into track number 9.
Ooh, very nice.
Venture.
What you gonna do? Blaze it till you die. You are living proof.
This was the other one on my list, vying for number 1 on this record.
Really?
Yeah,
Do tell.
I don't know, man. It just it doesn't feel as I don't know. It doesn't feel as like energetic wall of sound to me. It does feel a little more kind of spread out. And I like that it comes after Blind Spots. It feels very like Me Without You to me.
Oh yeah.
This song, like that drum
Get that.
groove is very Me Without You. And the way they kind of do their vocals feels
Yeah,
very
true.
Me Without You.
Kind of gang vocal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like how I forgot to mention that on like Bright White Light, they like bring it down and that goes into Blind Spot so well, and then they bring it up again.
They said they know how to sequence a record, man.
They do.
They really do.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
This has another reference. I mean, it says like, now you're standing on stilts, didn't see the walls coming up. Like, harkening back to the name of the album and other lyrics. So,
yeah. I don't know if y'all saw this, but TJ was quoted as saying, "This song is saying that if you stay in the center of how you see it, you will not open your mind to a new perspective. When something is spinning on its axis, at the center, no movement is felt. The further you venture out, the more you'll feel the spin and at a higher speed. It's frightening. Keep fighting to open the mind. Don't stay put until you die." And then he also said this song is a band favorite to play live.
interesting.
Having
I
that
can
extra
see that.
context is really cool. Like,
Yeah.
because it helps
Well,
me
that-
appreciate
That's
the
very
lyrics.
TJ.
That honestly,
You, TJ, and also TJ Bonnet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think about the lyrical content of the record, to me that kind of encapsulates what the record's about. Like it's all sort of like it I don't think it's just because of the time period in which it came out, but the record does
Right.
feel pretty political
Mm-hmm.
and not even necessarily like actual like politics, but just like this sort of division of culture that we've
Social
like
issues.
steadily been growing towards, and the idea of just like, hey, kind of like stop and like consider other people in this argument and stuff. I feel like there's a lot of like that's kind of what this record is about.
Right. And the connective power in doing that for yourself, not just to like entertain somebody else's perspective.
Right.
But like that you'll actually grow as a person and be challenged and maybe have support from other people that you're trying to connect with by making an effort to do that. Also, that breakdown at 221 goes hard, but I wanted it earlier in the song.
Oh,
I wanted like some
that they
dynamic
hold it
range.
off.
You think so?
Yeah, I like that.
I want to rework the song.
I mean,
like,
it does make it to where like the whole first half is building to that, and then it happens. But so I could see how it's kind of like one dimensional in that way.
yeah, I think that's how I felt about it.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that just makes it for me like when it happens, you're like, yes, this is what this has been building up to.
Payoff seems worth it.
Yeah,
It's pretty
I don't know
sweet.
how I feel about it.
I wanted it to be like less intense, but happen like a breakdown, maybe at 1 minute instead of at the 2 minute mark. And then it go back to that Me Without You kind of snare thing with the gang vocals and then drop again even bigger. Like I wanted kind of like a
That'd be
hill,
cool.
valley, and then a mountain peak.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Like, but I'm not in As Cities Burn. My name's TJ, but they already had one of those. So
You're such a Cody.
I don't get a say in the matter.
Well, guys, do you have anything else about track 9? 'Cause we got one track left, and then we got a lot of other stuff to cover to finish out this.
We do, man. I don't know. We never do like second favorites, but this might be my second favorite song on here. I really like this one a lot.
Venture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This
that's what I'm
one's-
saying.
This
It
was
was-
really solid.
It was between this and Broadway.
Yeah,
I'd say something, but I don't want to die contrary.
No, go for it.
Well, I don't want to die contrary. So
Oh my God, I did not even catch that at all.
TJ, just live convinced, man.
thanks, man. I will.
Here we
I
go,
will.
guys. Last track of Scream Through the Walls. Pulling a real TJ. Die Contrary.
We came into this world as one. Now something is broke us in two. The heart will lead, the mind will follow. The heart will lead, the mind will follow. There's a way.
I mean, right off the bat, you've got the lyrical mirror to track 1.
Yeah, I love the bookends of like how it starts and ends.
Yep. Good mirroring.
I really like the guitar trend they have in the beginning. Like, I feel like that's not like very typical ACB, but I really
Right.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I like this a lot more than the first track. Sorry,
Oh
TJ.
yeah,
That's okay. Yeah, no, I like this track a lot. I think it's a strong closer.
I don't have much else to say. I
You
didn't
don't have
write. I
much
didn't
else?
write.
Okay.
I didn't
got a
write
lot of
notes on it.
stuff.
Yeah, I didn't write. I didn't write notes on this song. Typical
Go, Josh.
Kylan move.
This one has a lot of parts to it. Like it starts out with kind of that washy kind of thing, and then it really picks up for like the choruses, which are really high energy. And I love like how it goes from there to there, and then it kind of drops it back down again. And then even at the end, there's like a key change that like finishes how like they kind of stay in like a nice chill spot, and then it like ends really super strong. So I feel like the dynamics for this song are really, really good.
Yeah.
It ends the record super well that way of like how it leaves you in all the different like journey they take you on sonically with it. This one has a lot of callbacks, a lot of like
Yep.
references too.
What all did you catch, Josh?
Okay, well, we'll start with the most obvious one first, if you
Yeah,
want to.
And the
of
big
TJ.
one, right?
The big one, and I feel like this is the most like fan servicey moment.
Totally.
But like when TJ screams, "I need you at my darkest," like obviously we all know, and it's like a big
circle.
fan service moment. But I'm not mad about it. Like everyone's
Yeah,
been waiting
they-
for TJ to come back
yeah.
in the band. Like
It's
fine.
they earned it. It's earned.
Yes, yes,
Totally.
It's totally.
Yeah, the
cool
stakes
with me.
have been there all along.
Yes, yeah, I saw what you were doing with it, but I'm like, that's fine, do it. Like, I like it. I'm glad,
Yeah.
you know? I'm glad you're back, TJ. Whenever they do like the voiceover part where it's like the radio, I don't know what the clip is from, but then they have like the tremolo guitar going. I feel like you get a lot of like clouds of like them when they were interviewing the people for Clouds about like
Yes.
who do you think God is and all that stuff. And then the last one I have was they say you're the only son, which was I feel like is a semi reference to kind of New Sun. So those were the ones
yeah.
that I had. But I'm like, you're kind of referencing a lot here,
Yeah.
or possible references.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with all those. And I think also there's in-album references like, you know, the obvious, like the So Bright is like the callback to the Bright White Lights.
Definitely.
And TJ said something about that I'll share later that really helped redefine how I understood Bright White Lights. I know I complained about the lyrics on that one feeling a little like pedestrian, but this really reframed it for me. So I'll share that in a second. But also we came into the world as one, now something has broke us in two. That's a theme that's actually hit throughout the album, including Live Convinced, like the I am idea, like oneness and like spirit, hoping you will find I am. So this feels like a great bookend.
Yeah.
Just having that lyric in it, kind of calling back to that idea. But yeah, I can share the TJ quote. It's money. So
Yeah, do it.
Go for it.
he said, "This was one of the very first songs we started writing. We love how this one came together. This song says, maybe we were a substance, one with God or the creator before we arrived here, but something broke us in two. Sometimes we feel distant from ourselves, others, God. Something isn't quite right. The bright white light," in quotes, he says, "is illuminating the heavy weight of existence and consciousness." So like that kind of turns it on its head, right? It's not just the straightforward like, oh, everything's great in the light. Like it's adding some complexity to, well, the light shines on things that makes things a little complicated and like shows how heavy things can be. So I really appreciated that. And then he says, we are asking God, creator source, to shine through us. So it's no longer about our individual existence or ego, but restoring all life back to one. Dark, dark crimson is the evil that is alive in this world today, feeding on a lack of love for self, others, and God.
Well, that makes not only the whole album, but their whole discography. It feels like such a good bookend to "Son, I Loved You at Your Darkest."
Yeah.
Like
I loved that.
It all like, I mean, this is Chekhov's daddy's payoff right here. Like this is
Louisiana
it. This is
Spice,
it,
baby.
Really though. This is it. This is it. Yeah, that's
We've made
so
contact,
cool.
man.
Yeah, man, that is
Yeah.
really cool. That feels like, it gives a lot more context not only for this record but for their whole discography. And I love that they did the first and last track bookends, and like I said, it feels like first and last album bookends. Not that this is their last album, but you know what I mean. Like if you look
At least to
these
this point.
four as a piece.
Right.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that made
like that a
the
lot.
that made the
Yeah.
last track like really land for me. Like
Yeah.
reading that, it's like, man, that's cool.
Yeah, and I feel like that definitely provides a lot more context to like the whole overall record and kind of like obviously those lyrical through lines and at least like themes that are present to where
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where they're coming at it from a headspace when they were making it.
Right.
I like that a lot.
And all the way into the Jesus Paid It All outro. What'd y'all think of that? It's pretty wild, right?
The what?
Is there a Jesus Paid It All outro?
Yeah, man. It's in the very end of Die Contrary. Turn it way up.
I've never
Dang.
heard that before.
I didn't catch that. Yeah.
Really? Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's funny because I think I saw ACB mention something about like the hidden something in Die Contrary, and I was like, is it just like they do a melody from Live Convinced or something? They mentioned something hidden in it, and I was like, what are you talking about? But
Yeah, it's down there pretty
oh,
low.
wow,
That's cool.
That is very
That is
Mhm.
really cool.
good find, TJ. Good ears.
Yeah, dude.
Those
Good
lyric
ears.
ears, man. They
Good
catch them all.
ears.
Got to catch them all. Jesus paid it all.
Jesus paid it all. Gotta catch them all. Jesus
Gotta-
paid it all.
Grits.
It's so good. That's my
Gotta-
favorite grit song.
You got your dark crimsons. You got your crimson, your Charmanders, your Crimson Anders,
Your shrimps.
your Charizards, your Crimsards.
Crimsonards.
Yeah. What-
Oh my god. Okay,
Something
so
there.
guys, we did it. We did it. We went through all of As Cities Burn as Cities
ventured
Burn's
Down the
discography.
Broadway, we found all the
Although
way to the
parts
end
it felt
here.
like we were covered with clouds and our world was gray. Eventually, we found a new sun.
And we drove an 84 sheepdog.
84 sheepdog. Yeah, I was trying to think of something. I had nothing for
picked
that.
up some Aaron rum along the way.
Yeah.
Had a few pirate blues.
And then
Yarr.
we got some irate blues too. So.
Irate blues, yeah. We did
I
have
do
that.
rate blues.
Oh, I forgot
Dot
about
org.
Tumblr.com.
I forgot about that. We did that like last week. I forgot about it already.
Yeah, I know.
Who are you, Kylan?
I am.
yeah,
I'm
for
Kylan
real.
this year, guys.
New year, new bit.
New bit.
Okay, I have a couple just general thoughts about Scream Through the Walls, I want to say. And then let's go back to the very beginning in our original
Wrap it all
rankings and see, as well as go through all of our top 10 ACB songs,
Oh,
which
I'm
I'm
nervous.
really excited for. Oh,
I'm more nervous about the records than the songs.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so my last thought on Scream Through the Walls. I really like it, but I still kind of... It's the kind of record for me that, unlike, I would say, like the Hawkboy stuff, I feel like really benefited, for me personally, from like kind of analyzing it and seeing them, both EPs as like a piece. I feel like this record, I would enjoy it a lot more if I just kind of put it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it didn't benefit from like analysis or like really like critical listening on my part,
Yeah.
to say the least.
You'd rather
It's
just
like a good
experience it.
driving around record.
Yeah,
Kinda-
exactly.
right.
And I think I like it for that.
Mm.
It was kind of tough for me going through and having to like write notes and like really think about it. It didn't seem like that's really kind of the way, like it didn't have as many like little things I could hook into the way the other records did, but
Right.
still pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So, okay, I have it pulled up. All of our original, before the miniseries started, what we ranked all the records as. So I'll read those off real quick.
Let's
TJ,
hear
you and I had the same. We guessed the same. That Hell or High Water would be number 1. Come Now Sleep would be number 2. Scream Through the Walls would be 3. And Son, I Loved You at Your Darkest would be 4. Now, Josh had Come Now Sleep as number 1, Hell or High Water at 2, Son, I Loved You at 3, and Scream Through the Walls at 4. So the question I posit to you is, did your rankings change? And if so, why?
Who's answering first?
I asked the question, so I don't have to go first.
Dang. I want to know what y'all's are because
Okay, can we do TJ, me, Josh?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay,
All right.
cool. Lead us off, TJ.
I am not super surprised, but happy to share that my list did not change.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I maintain my projection. I
All right.
stick with what I proposed. And here's why. Spending time with Scream Through the Walls as we have now helped me appreciate all the different components of As Cities Burn in the form that they were in for that album, in a way that I initially did not when I first listened to this album when it came out. And especially having listened to it after going through the rest of the entire discography and related discography, I think it's a more mature version of what the band was trying to be when they came out with Son, I Loved You. And I like that they followed some of those sonic and songwriting tendencies and thoughts to this end. I like where they landed with it, and I'm glad it exists. I don't love it. I like it. But I think that it has a lot of interesting components sonically, and I think lyrically it's just like super interesting and would bring me back to it a lot more frequently than Son, I Loved You would bring me back to that. So like, because it's almost like I'm taking a page from, is it both of y'all that use listenability as a part of your bop credentials?
Yes.
Like repeat listens?
Mm-hmm. Like, am I going to listen to this record again in the next year?
Right. So I'm taking a page out of y'all's book for this and saying, because Scream Through the Walls feels like something I would go back to more readily, more frequently.
More than Son, I Loved You.
Son, I Loved You. It
Ooh.
stays at number 3.
Oh,
But
he's
the
gonna be
other
so mad at you.
albums stay where they are. Like Hell or High Water doesn't change from the top spot.
When we did Come Now Sleep, you and I both
know.
talked about considering maybe switching it up. But
I was
all right,
I
you
was on the
maintained-
fence.
Yeah, so you were.
maintained.
But I
All
stick with
right.
my initial vote. So
Yeah, well, and I love that you have that, like, because you went in not really knowing much about Scream Through the Walls, but now that you have, like,
yeah.
that's cemented. You're like, yeah, I have valid reason to
Yes.
why I put that third. So I like that a lot.
I did think Son, I Loved You might dethrone it or, jump up a spot. But it didn't. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't.
Nice.
So-
Interesting. Okay.
Oof.
All right, Josh, do you want me to go next or do you want to go next? Because we
Oh,
never know
man.
where I'm going to go.
You never know where you're gonna go. I'm still like deciding right now. I'm like,
Okay. All right, then
I'm
I'll go.
still, like,
Okay.
Pulling a Kylie.
Okay.
I,
You
I
are
really-
pulling it. You are turning into me.
I don't want to like. I feel like I go last a lot, so I'm not just trying to do that. But I just am curious if I'm gonna like line up with anyone here. So that's what I'm very curious.
Okay.
about.
Okay. Yeah, you really are pulling a Kylan. You're just pulling it at your ass at
Let's
the
let
last
him do
second. All right, so here we go. My turn. So I had Hell or High Water, then Come Now Sleep, Scream Through the Walls, and Son, I Loved You. So my final list is going to be Josh's original list.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Come Now Sleep is number 1, Hell or High Water number 2, Son, I Loved You, and number 3, Scream Through the Walls number 4.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Ooh.
what bumped? At first, I want to know what bumped "Son, I Loved You" up for you.
Not loving Scream Through the Walls. Because Son, I Love You, even though I didn't really listen to that record a ton at the time, which we talked about, that sound, that kind of production, I have a little more nostalgia for.
Mm.
But both of those records are like pretty close. Where like I'm not gonna put them on like all the time.
Right.
Whereas like Come Now Sleep and Hell or High Water, I could literally put on like any day, regardless of how I'm feeling. I'd be
Yep.
like, there's something on between those two records. if I'm having a more energetic day, maybe put on Hell or High Water. If I'm feeling a little more retrospective, pensive, I could put on Come Now Sleep. I have to be in a much more specific mood for Son I Loved You and Scream Through the Walls.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't sure until I was doing my top 10 and Come Now Sleep, thinking about it more. I was like, that's got to be my number one, man. It's got to be my number one. So,
Well, now I'm more curious
it's my
about your
number
top
one.
10 than I was before.
oh,
Yes.
yeah.
If your top 10 informed your album ranking, then I feel like I can guess what your top 10 looks like.
I don't think you can. I really don't think you can. Good luck. All right, Josh, what's your final ranking?
Okay, I would just want to say that my top 10 also informed my album ranking that I think I'm going to have a last minute audible on.
Okay.
So,
Oh, shoot.
so my initial list, right, Colin, was Come Now Sleep, Hell or High Water, Son I Loved You, and then Scream Through the Walls,
Yep.
right? Okay. I'm going on record.
Okay.
Hell or High Water is number one.
Whoa!
Switching to Hell or
My
High
guy.
Water.
Whoa.
Josh,
I'm so
okay.
Come on,
Okay.
man.
Okay.
It's just too good. Like,
Okay.
it's-
Wow.
it's
wow.
too good. Allie
Okay.
is
This is hilarious
shocked
to me.
next to me.
I know. Allie's
'Cause
so
y'all
mad at both
flipped.
of y'all.
Y'all flipped.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Come Now Sleep, still very close, very, very close together.
Yeah.
But no
Obviously,
cigar.
second. Okay, and then I'm gonna go. Son I Loved You, Scream Through the Walls. But I did have, going into this, I had Scream Through the Walls as third, because it is more of like like we talked about, I have so much like great memories attached to that time, and like I do enjoy the record. It's one that I feel like you just kind of like throw on and jam out to, like in the background, like.
Right.
And it
But
has
your
more,
wife
like,
is going to be pissed if you put Son I Loved You
she
last.
will. Yes, I cannot put Son I Loved You last. She
Like,
is listening
the
right
peace.
now.
Yeah,
I'm
Intact at home.
yeah. Yeah, Josh,
Blink
blink
twice.
if you need help.
Yeah.
She's still shocked.
Use the Bart chat.
Yes,
the Bart chat.
Yeah,
Tell us.
oh, I think Bart's in the chat again.
Oh, Bart
Son I Loved
Bart
You
is
at your
saying,
darkest.
call 911.
SOS. SOS.
So yeah,
We're
so
stab man when you need him.
I like I want to putting more recent records. I feel like speaks to like an artist growing and like coming out with new stuff. Like you want to you don't want to be the guy that's like your first record's your best and after that it's
Right.
lame. Like so,
Right.
So like
Yeah.
I feel like putting Hell or High Water and then like I was gonna put Scream Through the Walls up a little bit more, but like I was doing my top 10s and like just the freaking guitar parts on Son I Loved You, like
Yeah.
like
Broke through, huh?
Scream Through the Walls has some really good parts, but it doesn't have those parts.
Right. Right.
And that's what Allie's excited about that. She's with me now. Like
Okay.
those parts. So I'll talk about those in I did have a last minute switch up on my top 10 ranking as well.
Okay.
So but yeah, I did want to put Scream Through the Walls, and I still do really love the record and like love the time I got to see ACB and just experiencing all of that, but gotta go Son I Loved You as third and then Scream Through the Walls.
All
So we
right.
all have like different lists, right? Technically?
Yeah, now we do.
Nice.
TJ is the same.
I love that.
And you and I switched.
You switched to
it
mine
around,
and then
so-
I
yeah.
switched out.
It's interesting to me too that because both of y'all have Scream Through the Walls as fourth, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me that I chose to put it third,
Yeah.
and I spent the most time with Son I Loved You because I got into ACB
Right,
when
right.
that album
Really
came out,
interesting.
and neither of y'all did.
yeah.
So I kind of wonder if I just got overexposed to that music,
Maybe.
and I'm just
Could
like
be.
sick of it because that happens to me so much. Where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I love music, but if I listen to it too much, like because I really, it's nothing about those songs not being strong. That's the
Right.
thing. That's why it pains me to rank stuff. Y'all know I hate that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, we have this like in the Starfire
It's like I'm saying it
group,
sucks.
we do it all the time. And Jason Martin has like 16 records at this point. So it's like my bottom four, I'm like, these are the last on my list, but I still really enjoy
Love
these
them, yeah.
records. Yes,
Right,
I just have to
right.
rank them lower because I love the other ones so much more.
Right.
So,
It's tough. Something's got to go last.
Like, yeah. And, you know, I constantly say this on this podcast, but like, it's all so subjective. And it's, you know, it's
yeah,
not
a
like,
year from
it's
now,
not like,
it could be different.
right. And for
Totally.
me, like an hour from now, it could be different. But in this very moment, gun to my head, that's what I would say.
There you go.
So,
I
yeah.
like it. That was fun.
the last thing we're gonna do to round out this miniseries is we're gonna give our top 10 As Cities Burn songs, and then I think on our Spotify we should make individual playlists of our
If
of our
we
top
can,
10.
depending on if Hawkboy or the 2015
Oh,
singles
that's
are
right.
included or not. That's the only caveat there.
That's
Yes,
right.
we should do that.
Hawkboy makes a pretty big appearance in mine. So
Yep.
I don't know how you guys want to do it. Here's my suggestion: is we go in a round. We all go our number 10, then our number 9, and number 8.
I'm down
all
with
the way
that.
to number 1. Cool.
Yeah.
Mine's gonna make no sense because I didn't do them in order.
Man.
I tried, you guys.
That's fine.
Do you
That's fine.
at least have like a top 3 that you could be like, it's any of these 3 could be like top
Your
3.
favorite.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do that really
Okay.
If you can at least
Okay.
do that, I want to know
All right.
like what are your top contenders?
Yeah.
quick.
Okay. So my number 10, I put Empire from Come Now Sleep.
Classic.
Yeah, it's just that intro is so good. All right, Josh, what's your number 10?
I'm gonna go Hollowed Out from Scream Through
Hollowed
the
Out,
Walls.
okay.
Yeah,
Nice. You liked it that much. All right.
I do.
I'll say not a single Scream Through the Walls made it on my top
I'm
10.
not terribly surprised by that.
I guess my 10, I guess, is King Folly.
King Folly, okay.
Hawkboy.
Right,
Yeah.
first
There we
Hawk
go.
Boy here.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay, so what is our number 9? I guess I'm going first.
That's you now.
My number 9 is Timothy.
A lot of Come Now Sleep on this list.
12 minute and 48
Look at you.
second song on a top 10 list for me.
A very
I
unKylan
know.
choice.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
I love it.
New year, new bit, man. I love long songs.
Yeah.
2023 Kylan loves long songs. now. I love that.
All right, Josh, what's your number 9?
Number 9, I'm going Scoundrel. Hawk
Scoundrel.
Boy in that
Okay.
house. I love
Okay,
that one.
That's great.
interesting.
So that's going to mess up my list, unfortunately, my
Yeah.
Spotify playlist, but I'll come up
I
with an
know.
alternate.
Josh, you know what? That's okay. Because my number 9 is 2-bit.
Ayo.
Oh,
Look at
okay.
you, 2 Hawk Boy songs, TJ.
Yeah. Yeah. I like my Hawkboy.
Who doesn't?
Right. Okay, so keeping with the Hawk Boy, my number 8 is Corpse Lips.
Oh, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's
Isn't
a
that wild?
surprise.
That is a surprise.
Yeah,
I
I
love
really
that.
like that
I
song.
love it. It is a great one.
It's my
Cody,
favorite Bright Eyes
Aaron.
song.
Put Hawk Boy on
Is-
streaming.
Seriously. The
and
people are
repress
demanding
it while
it.
you're at it, too.
These
Yep.
3 people at least.
Sure, other people are. If we just keep
I
talking
hope
about how
so.
good it is, everyone's going to be like, we need these songs.
Yeah, we need to listen to him. Yeah, exactly.
True.
All right, Josh, what's your number 8?
Okay, number 8. This was a last minute sub for me because I had in the episode of Son I Loved You talked about how Bloodsucker was going to be a top 10 for me. And it
Right.
was until I listened to Dust From My Lips by Yours, My Sin Is Purged. And I'm putting that as number 8 for me.
Whoa. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. TJ, what you got?
8 is Timothy.
8 is Timothy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I
That's
love that
what's up.
sprawling,
It's so good.
introspective ambient stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Emotive and beautiful.
Well, then, and I edited that episode and listening back to our conversation about it, it just like, yeah, I love it even more.
Yeah.
After, because I think pre this miniseries, it wouldn't have made it on my top 10, but it's there now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not have expected it to be. I
Yeah.
love that it is, though. Look at this.
Yeah,
growth,
me too.
guys.
I know. All right,
love
guys,
it.
my track 7, a little basic, but The Widow.
Nice.
The Widow. Chekhov's Daddy's Widow.
It's funny how, like,
Daddy's widow.
putting a song, like, we were talking about this for our brand new rankings, but it's like putting The Widow feels basic, but you're like, no one knows this song. Like,
Right.
only like a select couple thousand people
Right.
know this song. But like, if you put The Widow, you're like, this feels so basic of me.
I have to grab my charger, but Josh, what's your number 7?
Number 7, I'm going Terrible. How Terrible for the Great City. Back to back Son I Love You songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you really feel they're kind of in that slot of like the 7, 8 on your top 10.
I think so.
They just land right there.
Yeah, they land there. Like, and that just speaks to like, I guess, why Son I Loved You, I guess, is third. Because I mean,
Right.
spoiler alert, the rest of my list is Hell or High Water and Come Now Sleep. So, but yeah, I was just like, yeah, listening to those guitar parts in these songs today, like that's what I was like, I have to put Son I Loved You third. It's just,
I get it.
I like it.
TJ, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is Made Too Pretty.
Okay, nice.
classic ACB.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty good.
It's a damn good song.
All right, my number 6 is 84 Sheepdog.
Nice.
The sweetest bass of 2023
Of 2023, the whole year.
Yep,
in the third
sweetest of
episode.
bases. Josh, what's your number 6?
Number 6, I'm going Into the Sea.
Okay, interesting.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right.
Yep. Well, we're all on the high water train because I also have 84 Sheepdog as number 6.
Hey, we match.
We match. High five.
Match. Nice. High five. Cool. All right. Number 5 has been previously mentioned by one of y'all. I don't remember now at this point because we're doing a lot of numbers and song titles. Scoundrel.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Okay,
I love
so
that.
here's the thing. I don't think I gave the song that much credit on our Hawkboy episode. I need to go back and listen. But that song this past month, more than any other song, is the one that I like woke up with that
With it in your head.
in my head. I
That's
like
the
took a
best.
shower and it was like in my head. I went to take the trash out. It was just in my head.
So good.
So yeah, I made it up pretty high. It's in my top 5.
Oof, yeah, y'all were both
Nice.
talking about like 2-bit on that episode, and I was the only scoundrel.
Yeah.
I was the only scoundrel.
You're
but
the
I'm
only
so
scoundrel,
glad
but
that
yeah,
we're
dude,
scoundrels
it-
together now.
Yeah, it came back, man. It came back in a big way for me.
so good.
Josh, what's your number 5?
Wrong body.
Ooh.
Interesting.
man.
Okay.
That's
I know.
great.
That was like looking for another
That-
Come Now Sleep one to come on there, and I was like, I realized I was like, this is like, yeah, I gotta go Wrong Body. It's so
I
good.
love that.
Interesting. TJ, what about you?
Number 5 is This Is It. This Is It.
Okay.
I love the way that song crashes open. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, ugh,
it's very
that's
good.
like iconic ACB for me. So
Mhm.
it had to be middling on the list.
Get that. Okay, guys, number 4. So I'm fulfilling another one that was mentioned. 2-bit.
Yeah.
I got my Hawk
Yeah,
Boys
I
back
got
to back.
Yeah.
I like
4 and
that.
5. 4 and 5. 2-bit.
That's cool. I like that it's
Yeah.
that high up on your list. That's very neat.
Mhm. It was so good. All right, Josh, what's your number 4?
Aaron Drum.
Okay.
I've
Ooh.
always
okay,
loved it.
cool.
Still
Nice.
love it.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right.
Gotta put it high.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right, TJ, what's your number 4?
4 is Empire.
Empire.
Yeah.
There we go.
Gotta
It's a
have
good
it.
one. It was in
Gotta
my
have
top
it.
10. So
Yep.
okay, number 3.
Top
Here we go.
threes.
Top 3. My third favorite As Cities Burn song is Pirate Blues.
Woo.
Mm.
Hell
I
yeah.
wonder if I could guess the rest of yours, but I'm not going to. That'd be a lot. And you're just going to tell me them in the next 2
Yeah,
minutes.
exactly. I mean, you can, but just play the game silently at home.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Pirate
Josh, what's
Blues,
your number
great.
3?
I'm going, This Is It. This Is It.
Okay, all right.
Nice. Very cool.
TJ, what's your third favorite?
All right. Now listen, I did this on the fly. Okay.
That's fine.
But I think my number 3 is Clouds.
wow.
I love Clouds.
Okay.
I love
cool.
what it's about.
Yeah.
I love that it's like this kind of dreamy track in the middle of an album when you're like, what is this? Like that it kind of throws you for a loop.
yeah.
I just think it's awesome. So, third spot.
All right. Cool. So moving on to second favorite. I put The Horde.
Woo!
Wow.
The
Nice.
Horde
I would
is
not
a
have
big one.
expected that.
The Horde is a big one for me, man. It's good.
That's awesome.
It's so
Ooh.
good. All right, Josh. What about you?
Capo.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah.
Very
Hell or
cool.
High Water coming in hot on your list.
Josh. Josh.
That's my
Josh
favorite good
has
song.
nothing to say to you.
TJ, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is Pirate Blue.
Pirate Blues.
I like that delivery. Thank you.
You know, we covered it.
Dude,
Only
yeah.
Bones covered that song. It's
Yeah.
always going to have a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
And it's just so good.
So
it is
good.
so good. All right, guys, drum roll, please. Number 1 favorite As Cities Burn song, of course, mine. I called my shot way back in the episode. It is Contact.
I think you mentioned it in the first ACB miniseries.
I think so, and in the Come Now Sleep episode.
Yes,
so
you did.
yeah, it's my favorite. It is to me the pinnacle of As Cities Burn.
I love that. I like that you were consistent about that too. Like,
Yeah,
that's cool that it
Yeah,
carried over.
just-
That means that it's a strong
yep.
track
It
for
is.
you.
It is my number 1. Hi, Josh.
I joined you and I said that Contact was my favorite, and
Contact.
it still is. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
It's too good.
Yep. It's too good. All right, TJ, what is your number 1? As of right now, we'll give all the caveats. We know everything is nebulous. Everything's made up. Things can change. We're human beings and we have differing opinions, and based on our life experiences and moods and emotions, our feelings and expressions and thoughts
And
can
multifaceted
change,
cinnamon rolls.
can change
yes.
with the wind, like tides upon the ocean.
Mm.
What's your number 1?
I appreciate you saying all that, because I just really, I hate disappointing y'all. You know that. I get really down about it. I don't like being different. And I'm not. My number 1 song is Contact.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
guys, do we all
Come
just
on.
become best friends?
I think that just objectively proves it's the best As Cities
I
Burn
think
song.
so. I think so, because we all have very different opinions on.
Because I think
on-
after this miniseries, I think we're all ACB scholars at this point. So the fact
think
that we're
so.
putting it number 1 shows you objectively.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to make a
else could it
diploma
be?
for all of us and print it out.
Yeah, for sure. I'll make us matching T-shirts.
Perfect.
I graduated from the Church Jams Now As Cities Burn miniseries college, and all I got was a stupid fucking T-shirt.
Contact number 1
Yeah.
recommendation.
But can it be in the Louisiana's finest jazz band
Yes.
font?
Of course.
Perfect.
Oh, naturally.
Man, I literally am gonna make that now. I'm so excited, dude. Contact is just the best. It is
It
the
is.
Love
best.
that.
It was
Uh,
paradigm shifting, like
Yeah,
it was like
it really was.
kind of mind blowing next level
Mhm.
stuff. And
Yeah, because not
Still
only in
is.
the context of that record, the context of their whole discography, it just hits in such a perfect way. It's so good.
Mhm. I had 2 alternates. My alternates were Scoundrel and Gates.
Oh, nice.
I just
Nice.
couldn't. I was just like, they have to at least be on the list,
Right,
even if
right.
they're below the
Uh,
10 spot.
Yeah, honorable mention.
Kylan, you didn't put Made Too Pretty on your list?
That was an honorable mention for
Nor
me.
Petty?
Mm,
Yeah.
You loved both of those.
I know.
It's true, you did.
Come Now Sleep just took over.
It really did. This is my Come Now Sleep list with a little bit of Hawkboy thrown in.
well, it's funny too, because I've still got Hell or High Water as my top album
Yeah,
of theirs, but I
yeah.
have more Come Now Sleep tracks on my top 10.
So
So-
interesting.
Yeah.
I know you hate lists, TJ, but I love
I do.
lists.
I love lists, and I
lists.
appreciate
know,
you putting
I
your list
humor
out
y'all.
there, TJ.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I know
I know
y'all
you
enjoy
do.
it, so it helps me enjoy it.
Josh will just randomly text me and be like, "What are your top 10 film scores?" And I'm like, "Oh, I love this
I
game."
did that, yeah.
Now,
I
see,
feel like it's how
I
I, like
love
to
hearing
like
y'all's
connect
lists.
people to things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and like you
Yeah.
telling me your favorite things, like tells me more about you, like what you're
Right.
drawn to
Well-
in media and art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
that's true. It's a shorthand.
Okay, guys, we did it. We are officially As Cities Burn scholars.
And you know what? If you've listened to this, so are you.
Yeah, that's right. It was
Congratulations.
basically a masterclass. It feels like after listening to us talk about all this, you'll feel like you've done 10,000 hours
Yep.
and are now officially an expert in
I feel like our
As Cities Burn.
jammers earned more than we did in the process of this series just by listening to us talk.
For sure. Yeah. We'll make diplomas and we'll make them available. I'll put them on like our Patreon.
Downloadable PDF.
Download your own Church Jams Now As Cities Burn miniseries college.
We'll also be sending out our signature Chekhov's Daddy's grits that you can order from the CGN
Yep.
website.
And a special deal if you order them with Suf Jam Stevens.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, for
But
sure.
you have to go to irateblues.tumblr.edu.
Tumblr.com. I'm actually gonna look that up right now
Dot.
because I'm gonna make that the Church Gyms Now website.
Perfect. Please do that.
Like if you type in churchgymsnow.com,
It directs
it'll just
to that.
lead to irateblues.tumblr.com. I'm totally doing that.
That'd be so
The only place to find content about Louisiana's finest jazz,
Finest jazz
band.
band.
That's so on brand for us.
Yeah, I know.
If there is a bit, however small it is, we will commit to it
Yeah, yeah. We will run it into the ground.
till no one finds it funny except for us.
Yep, exactly.
Maybe not even us. We killed it.
Maybe.
That's our commitment.
This was fun. Let us know, guys, if there's any other artists out there that you want us to do a mini series on.
Yeah, I would love to get some feedback on the miniseries as a whole. Like, what do people think? Like, we spent a lot of time with one band, which we haven't done before, and we have some ideas for some other miniseries. But I would love to hear what bands you would like to hear us deep dive even further into.
And I'm sorry we can't do Hoobastank because we're a Christian music podcast.
That's true.
That's the reason why.
That rich and varied discography. Did they do anything besides the one album?
Surely they did.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Surely they did.
I kind of don't want to know. Like, I don't need that information in my brain.
Well, I do, unfortunately.
Oh no, what have I
You
done?
asked the question now, Kylan.
They came out
has
with
to
an
know.
album the same year as Scream Through the Walls.
Oh no.
All right, guys. So join us next week in our Hoobastank miniseries.
Hoobastank now.
Hoobastank now.
Hoobastank now. Ibastank now.
You
Hoobastank now.
Hoobastank now. All right, Grits. Yeah, all right. So follow us on social media, Church Gyms Now, on all the platforms, except for TikTok, because we're old. Also, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Church Gyms Now podcast for more bonus content. We got lots of fun stuff coming up. Is there anything else we need to say?
No, I think that's about it.
All right. May all your favorite bands stay together, and peace out, Monfreres.
Peace out, Chekhov's daddies.
Peace out, Chekhov's Daddies, Monfreres. My favorite Grits album.
Church Jams Now.
Scream Through the Walls, tracks 1 through 7, 9 through 10, was recorded in August 2018 at Safe Haven Studio in Jolton, Tennessee. Produced and engineered by Matt Goldman. Additional vocal production and programming on Live Convinced, Broadway, Hollowed Out, Bright White Light, and the entire track Blind Spots, track 8, recorded in September 2018 at Ennis Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Produced and engineered by Saint Pressure. Gang vocals on Chains and Venture are performed by Cole Johnson, Tanner Johnson, Hugh Parks, Matt Kaufman, Cody Bonnet, TJ Bonnet, Aaron Lunsford, Stephen Keach, Matt Goldman. Additional keys and percussion by Matt Goldman. Additional programming by Nate Washburn. Mixed by Matt Goldman at Gem City Studios in Jellicoe, Tennessee. Mastered by Mike Callahan at Rogue Planet Mastering. All songs written by As Cities Burn. Album cover art by Ryan Rado. Photographed by Luke Yates. Photograph taken at Columbia Arts Building, Columbia, Tennessee. Layout and cover design by Bill Scoville. A&R by Dan Sandshaw for Equal Vision Records. Management by Chris Koholias at SWMMNG. Booking by Tanner Westmeyer at Artery Global. Legal by Martin Friscona.